Fitzpatrick, Fagan, and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
Well, good morning. It's 6 minutes past 6 in the morning here on the what they call in Geico commercials Hump Day.
Mm-hmm.
The 17th of December. How about that? Just let's see.
8 days away?
Well, no. Let me think. Give me a second here. Let me count it. 3 months to the day away from St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there another holiday coming up? Did I miss something?
I don't think something.
St. Patrick's Day is
just ready for the parade, huh?
Winter
That's right.
Festival.
You know, in New Orleans, they have the St. Patrick's Day parade every year, and they throw potatoes and cabbage.
Oh.
Did you guys know that?
No.
Yeah, they literally throw potatoes and cabbage. It's quite an event.
I'm not sure potatoes and cabbage actually are that good.
What do they
We
throw
have
them
to
at?
cook them.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know, that's like saying to an Hispanic, I don't believe tacos are a very good meal.
Is it?
I'm an Irishman, and you just insulted my cuisine? Really?
Yeah. When was the last time you had potatoes and cabbage?
I was going to say it. You're racist.
Why don't they
when was
serve
the last
cabbage at
time you had
McDonald's?
potatoes and cabbage?
My grandmother cooked it for me
Okay.
25 years ago.
All right, thanks. Appreciate that.
If it was that good, they'd
Anything
have it
else?
at McDonald's.
Thank you. Well said.
Well, you know, you have to have the right person cook it. You can't have just anybody cook it.
Okay, well, I could say this. You can make anything taste really good if you're good enough cook.
Or if you use a lot of butter.
Or salt.
Butter and salt loaded
Butter
up.
and salt. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, they do that. They throw the cabbage and the potatoes, and I think carrots too.
Do they actually hit people with the...
Well, no, they toss them.
Oh, they
in
toss
a very light manner. Yeah.
Because that would sounds like a little bit of fun. Sort of like
Well, the potatoes, you
video game.
You can knock some
Nail
people out.
somebody out.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd probably be the way you do it, but I think most of the folks down there, they like to be friendly and toss.
All right.
But it's quite the thing. And St. Patrick's Day, it was always my dad's favorite day of the year. Of course, he's Irish. Here was his day. He would go to Full Coast Bar, and they'd sing Irish songs and drink. No. I'm sorry. How could I miss that? First thing he'll do is they always have a mass at St. Louis Cathedral. And, of course, they'd sing Irish songs during the mass, and that would be like at 10 in the morning. So he'd go down to that, and then he'd go over to Full Coast Bar where they serve green beer, and then they'd drink a green beer, and then they would sing Irish songs during the day, and then the parade would come right in front of Full Coast. And we all go with him. Not
to the
all,
bar?
We go not to mass, but to the bar. Yes.
Okay.
He didn't want us at mass. That was like a real personal thing with him. He actually would go, and I'm not kidding. He would literally just sit there and cry.
Oh.
It was just a big deal to him. And but then we'd go. He wanted us to go to the bar. I didn't go every year. I'd go every once in a while. But it was when I say bar, they have these big juice tents, and there was outside. There was kids running all around. They close off the street.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we're in a seedy bar with a jukebox.
Move that thing away from your waving hand.
But it was a nice day for him. He really enjoyed it, and it's good to have traditions like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what a big part of his year that was? He thinks about it all the time.
Yeah.
He prepares for it.
Yeah.
Human beings love to have routine. By the way,
Yes.
you routine.
It's comfortable.
Yeah, it's absolutely comfortable. It's comforting. In addition to being comfortable, but those are the things you remember. I mean, you got to do a tradition 3 or 4 years in a row before your kids will even remember it.
Right.
So yeah.
What is the one tradition that your kids would say is the biggest tradition in the Biegel household?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, we do all the regular things, but I don't know which one would stand out to them, and I don't know if it'd be different for each one of them.
Which is the one that means most to you?
I don't know. I don't really have an answer. Sorry.
My daughter and I go to movies. I know Glen
That's
goes
Glen's
with
deal.
one of his
His one.
daughters
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
our tradition.
Yeah.
We're movie buddies.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice one. I don't know.
Poor Glen, he's got 9 kids. He can't really just say
She's
one.
A lot of movies. I went to a movie with a bunch of Biegels once.
Yeah.
It was a 7-hour movie.
Yeah.
Worst movie I ever saw.
Were they barking the whole time?
No, the kids, they loved it. It was a Transformer movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't check the length of the movie before we went.
And I remember
That
at
was
one
a little
point,
bit of a mistake.
I remember at one point I turned to Glenn and I said to him, because I realized that, we've been here about 4 hours. I said, is this like an all-day deal, or what? They put all of them together into one big movie? Because it didn't just strike you all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute now, we've been here 4 hours and this thing isn't even close. Because, there were still 3 or 4 characters that had to die.
Yeah.
And there was going to have to be some big fight at the end. So you knew there had to be 2 or 3 more scenes coming. And they've been going at this forever.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't getting out of there anytime soon.
I did leave early, though, didn't I?
Yeah.
I had to. Well, I had to go to work.
Early as in you left after the 6th hour in a 7-hour movie.
Right. How much time did that thing go after I left?
Yeah, a couple hours.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Oh, don't go see Transformers. Please don't.
Well, what I think goes on in people's minds is, gee, this is really good. Let's do more of it.
Well,
and at some point, the movie stops being good because you did too much of it, because it doesn't even make any sense.
I have a friend of mine. His name is Mickey Corcoran, and he is a genius. He owns a production company in Hollywood, and he's very successful. And he's so talented. His son now has a YouTube page that he's putting together videos. And Mickey taught me that everything, whether it's a soundbite, whether it's a shot of video, whatever it is, has a lifespan. And you've got to stop it at the moment it loses its lifespan. And because he was such an amazing editor, and he taught me how to edit video. You start a piece of video, and it may go, 1/4 of a second, half a second, 3/4 of a second, 1 second, second half, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. At some point in there, that shot that you're editing loses its lifespan, and you got to get out of that shot.
Yeah,
and that's what he taught me. And once you get that concept, and it's the same with a subject matter in talk radio. It's the same with a soundbite. That was one of the things you do as a news reporter is you'd have to pick a soundbite, and some soundbites would be good for 18 seconds, some would be good for 24, some would be good for 7. And you have to figure out, okay, when does this soundbite die? When does this soundbite lose its interest? When you're putting together a report.
Well, walk me through the guy who made that movie's thinking process, because he
has no clue.
He's just gone through. He probably put 500,000 hours into making this movie, so he's seen so much of it over and over and over again.
Yeah, you're right. No clue. He just doesn't have that eye. Some people don't have an eye for stuff like that. They just don't, and no matter how hard they try. Now, look, that movie was made for a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And they're
which is about 90% of our mentality.
Seeing things blow up, and they can stick with that longer than most people. So to me, that's probably what that's all about. 569-1080, 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, right here, KOAN, KVNT. Merry Christmas to you, by the way. Time currently 6:14. KVNT. Merry Christmas to you, by the way. Time currently 6:14.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
Hanukkah, the festival of lights. Join us for Cirque de Hanukkah, featuring an incredible acrobatic display by the Chicago Boys acrobatic team, as seen on America's Got Talent. Enjoy latkes, donuts, Israeli falafel, and let the kids have a blast with Meltdown, a new multiplayer Hanukkah spinning game. Sunday, December 21st, 5 p.m. at the Egan Center. All families welcome. Tickets at the door or online at alaskajewishcampus.org. Happy Hanukkah to all.
We all know Christmas shopping can be brutal, but I've learned that the easiest and best answer for gifts to friends and relatives outside is to handle it all with just one phone call. Yep, I send them New Segaya's Alaska Golden King Crab for Christmas, and I never have to worry, because New Segaya sends only the freshest, meatiest jumbo king crab clusters. 5 pounds of Golden King crab delivered by UPS overnight delivery anywhere in the continental United States. And it's packaged by New Sagaya's experts with dry ice and gel ice in a tight styrofoam box. It's guaranteed to arrive fresh and ready to eat any day you specify. The fantastic crab feast, the boxing, the shipping, and the delivery, New Sagaya takes care of all of it for you for just $155. No standing in line, just one phone call, and you can send it to as many places as you wish. So look, if you want to do it the easy way, call New Sagaya's Crab Central, 561-5173. 561-5173. Send them crab for Christmas from New Sagaya.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM. Hot Talk, KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
Well, good morning and welcome. Dan Fagan here. Glen Biegel right over there. It's Fagan Biegel in the morning on KOAN, KVNT, broadcasting. Also, streaming live, video and audio. danfagan.us. danfagan.us. You can listen to us or watch us there. Our number 569-1080. 569-1080. Give us a call. We would like to hear from you this morning, seeing that this is a talk show that we do. Well, you hear this headline, you read the headline, you hear it on the news last night. President Obama, Channel 11 reported it as President Obama permanently declares waters in and near Bristol Bay off limits to oil and gas leasing, and your heart stops, right? Permanently is a pretty big
Because
word.
that has a very specific meaning that people understand it to be, which is that you have just created what we call a wilderness area, which is a absolute specific legal designation for an area of land. It only means one thing. Do they not mean that?
No, they do not mean that. And even Channel 11, at the end of the story, what we call the tagline in the news business said that another president can issue another executive order and undo this.
So they basically just give you a false story, or?
Yeah, well, they got it wrong in the beginning
okay.
when they said permanent.
Okay.
Because I don't watch the news. I go on their website and I click, right, to see the story online. And so you hear that and you're going, what? Because that's not what ADN was reporting. And I'm listening. And then finally when they get to the end of the story,
they clarify. Or they revoke.
They correct themselves.
They rewrite.
Yeah, that permanent word's a big word.
Yeah, it's a big deal, yeah, because you there's really nothing essentially we can do. You'd have to get 60 votes in order to break the Democrat filibuster. You probably would have to change a law. I mean, who knows? It's that big of a deal.
To me, this is not a surprise. I think it's kind of interesting how it relates to Mark Begich. You'll remember Mark Begich, Glenn.
Vaguely.
When he ran, your old buddy, when he ran for...
Somebody told me that he's not really thinking of running for mayor.
Yeah, I heard that too. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But the main message Begich had was, I'll get you offshore drilling. And he told me personally on a number of occasions that, I'll easily get reelected because we will get offshore drilling.
Bah.
It didn't work out for him.
Nice try.
And now... the whole concept was, well, I'm on the inside. I can convince Obama.
Obama's my buddy.
Right.
We speak the same language,
Exactly.
same Democrat language, which is everything's political, baby. If you want me to get reelected, you got to give me some honey.
And the reason this is so devastating for Begich, it's not that Alice Rogoff will point this out in 2 years when he runs, but is that not only did he not convince him to open it, he actually decided to close it and get involved in the process of keeping it closed. So to say that Begich was a dismal failure on this is an understatement.
Now, do you think that Obama was waiting to do this until after to see whether or not Begich left office?
Well, he couldn't have done it. It would have killed Begich for sure.
Wow.
If he did, I mean, think about it. Because that was Begic's whole thing.
Now, do you see this as any different than Pebble Mine?
I don't know.
Any different constituency than Pebble Mine?
No, it's all the environmental movement.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. But there's two surprises that I've found in this. And the first one, this is so wrong that I take such great pleasure in watching politicians squirm and squiggle and try to be someone they're not. Because it's just such life. Lisa Murkowski in 2 years, when she runs, she's going to have attacks from the left and the right. Right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to put up, what was that guy from Scott McAdams? They're not going to put up a Scott McAdams.
No.
Because they never thought Lisa was vulnerable.
It's either Begich or French.
It'll be French or Begich or somebody.
Yeah.
So she's going to have a serious attack from the left.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to have a serious attack from the right.
Yeah.
I think she's in real trouble. So now she's got to think, okay, the left loves me. Moderates love me. Conservatives, not so much, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
She probably thinks everybody loves her.
Probably.
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
Well, she is, I think, the most popular politician poll-wise right now in the state.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, I mean, she gets better numbers.
No, that means that she hasn't been in the news about anything negative, about her stand on Hobby Lobby, on the right to life, on
That's true.
Supporting the president 1,000 different times, of being the second most expensive legislator in the United States history and wasting more money than anyone else.
I would say probably amongst people who think like we do, she has about a 4% approval rating.
Yeah.
But moderates, low information voters, leftists, they love her.
But even me, when you said that, I felt bad coming out in public and saying anything negative about her.
Yeah.
Because I want her to do at least something good.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to lose hope until it.
Well, listen to her reaction to this decision by Obama. Given the lack of interest by industry and the public divide over allowing oil and gas exploration in this area, I am not objecting to this decision at this time. I think we all recognize that these are some of our state's richest fishing waters. Still, the ADN writes, she questioned why the announcement came ahead of Obama's administration's overall plan of offshore leasing. Now, Mr. or Mrs. Conservative, whoever it is going to run against Lisa, you need to get a pencil and a pad and paper.
Mm-hmm.
You need to write this down, and you need to remind voters that when Obama takes offshore drilling off the table, that Ms. Murkowski said she doesn't object at this time. She's playing to everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a problem because the one thing that a lot of conservatives did vote for Lisa against Joe.
Sure.
But they did it solely on her position on resource development. If she's going to start waffling on this issue...
Well, here she is, the head of the Energy Committee.
What use,
am I wrong?
What use is it having her on the head of Energy if these are the kind of positions going to be taken?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that really surprised me, and I think it's an indication of her strategy as she goes into re-election mode here over the next 2 years. Do you agree with that?
Well, this is what I would consider unforgivable, and I didn't see her whole statement, so I'd be
Well, that's the written statement in its entirety.
Okay, if she did not take this opportunity to say the United States has developed amazing technology to produce energy in any number of different locations and different conditions, if it can be shown we can do things safely using American resources and American workers and produce wealth and value inside the United States of America, I am dedicated. That is my sole purpose in life. If she did not take the opportunity to say that, then frankly, she's of absolutely no use to me, because that's what I need people to know, that you just can't say no because you have that power, because you're fearful. I don't want to live in your country of fear, in your world of fear. My kids can't get a job in your world of fear. So if you're not going to make that case when you've got when the microphone comes right in front of your face, frankly, you're useless.
What about what she says, given the lack of interest by industry? Are you kidding me? You know how much money Shell has spent?
Well, she's talking about Bristol, right? Bristol Bay.
Well, the decision was all water, the offshore drilling off of Western Alaska and Bristol Bay. It's offshore drilling also.
It would affect Chukchi?
Yes.
Well, if it affects Chukchi, then
Beaufort and Chukchi.
okay, well, then I'd say it's much, much serious. The one I read just was about Bristol. The president said in a video announced that Bristol Bay and nearby waters, covering area roughly the size of Florida, would be withdrawn from consideration from petroleum leases. Bristol Bay, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think it's just Bristol.
It's not offshore.
It's all offshore, and it's all
Right.
Bristol Bay.
Right.
But it doesn't have anything to do with the Beaufort. It doesn't have anything to do with Chukchi, as far as I know.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
What he's saying is the federal government owns these waters, and
Right.
we are not going to consider any of these waters for leasing in Bristol Bay or near Bristol Bay, and so that's his decision.
So the Bristol Bay and the waters north of the Aleutian Islands.
Yes.
So this does not affect the Chukchi or...
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, because that is an area the size of the
Okay.
entire United States of America, not an area the size
Okay.
of Florida.
Okay, well, then I stand corrected on that. So she's staking a claim here as far as just the waters off of Bristol Bay and in the region.
But shouldn't she come out and make the case for resource development and for advancement in technology, and that our companies do a good job, and that we need local jobs, and we need to create wealth in the United States, and this won't threaten the fishery?
It's either doable or it's not. And to argue that oil and gas development is not environmentally safe today is ridiculous.
I agree.
I mean, look at all the oil and gas we produce on this planet.
But Dan, she didn't make our case.
No.
She didn't make the energy sector's case, and she's the head of the energy committee.
Yep.
If she doesn't make the case, what possible good could she possibly do for her job?
Yeah.
Somebody talked about, I was talking with somebody yesterday. They said there's an inside game and an outside game that politicians play and companies play. And most of the time, companies are very comfortable with the inside game. In other words, they are going to go talk to the decision makers and let them know, look, here's all the information we have. This is why this is a good idea. Just be on our side and things will work out fine. And then they ignore the outside game, which is just to tell the public, hey, folks, we are fantastic for you. You know how much better it is for us to develop resources in the United States of America than it is, Kazakhstan?
Yeah.
So that's the outside game. She is playing the inside game, which is when I get into the Energy Committee, I'm going to talk amongst all of the rest of the senators, and I'm going to make my case with them about how great Alaska is, but I'm not going to make my case to the people. And I don't have any time for people like that. We are losing this battle dramatically, and I'm out fighting it all the time, telling people. Want to know what I wrote, by the way, on this one?
Sure.
I wrote, let's see, and a voice comes from the mountaintop. Thou shalt not produce your resources. And the people lived in fear. That's it. We live in their world of fear, and they're in charge. That's the crazy thing, is crazy environmentalists who are super strong here have no power anywhere else in the world where they actually are destroying their environment. Here they're wiping out our wealth and wiping out jobs.
569-1080, 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel. Time 6:30. 9-1080, 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel. Time 6:30.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. A Wasilla man is under arrest following a months-long investigation into the production and distribution of child pornography. 47-year-old Conrad Wade Thomas is accused of surreptitiously filming a minor, a home in Wasilla between 2011 and 2013, multiple other offenses. Enroll Alaska has helped 1,000 residents sign up for health insurance required under the new Affordable Care Act. Those plans will go into effect on January 1st. Administration officials remind individuals who don't need assistance they can also enroll by themselves on the healthcare.gov website through February 15th. Reverend Chad Zelensky
Zelensky's been installed as Bishop of Fairbanks, the first time in recent memory. An active duty military chaplain's been named as Bishop in Alaska. Former Air Force Base chaplain had been deployed to Afghanistan in 2011. Back to Hot Talk News Update. Local weather is next.
Today will be partly sunny with a high 28, then patchy clouds for tonight, a low 17. Partly sunny tomorrow, high 25, and a low tomorrow night of 18, and remaining partly sunny for Friday, high of 28. Saturday becoming mostly cloudy, high 28, and Sunday clouds limit sun with a high 27. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
We'll pay you to feel good. We'll pay you to look good. We'll pay you to get treated like the spectacular human being you are. Sound reasonable? When you join us at Allure Day Spa and Hair Design for any service, we give you loyalty reward points to use on any of our products. You get a massage, you feel great, and we give you points to use on products. You have a beauty day, hair, facial, nails. You look wow. And we give you points to spend on products. You come in for waxing, points for products. It's our way of saying thank you for being a client. If you've never been to Allure Day Spa, here's what you'll like. Allure was voted one of the top 5 salons in America, and it's for everyone. If you've never been to Allure, please come by and take a tour to see why people say, I should have stopped in sooner. Once you get to know us, we think you'll love us. Of course, you'll find us on the web, but more importantly, you can find Allure Day Spa and Hair Design downtown, corner of 5th and B.
On the best days of Christmas, Ulta Beauty gave to me a 12 fragrance gift set, 11 Etsy polish skin dollar glitter eyeliner, 9 shiny gift card hours, skin protectant, 7 sealant glosses, Risky 6 line by Benefit, 5 Urban Decay Naked palettes, 4 living proof hair products, 3 Daisy Green perfumes, 2 face cosmetics, and 1 luxury bathrobe free with $40 fragrance purchase while supplies last.
Hurry in for the best beauty deals and gifts of the season. Ulta Beauty, gift gorgeously.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
I thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Well, good morning to you on a Wednesday morning, December 17th. We're just a little over a week away from Christmas. A week from tomorrow. Dan Fagan here, Glen Biegel, broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live, video and audio, danfagan.us. Our number 569-1080. Talking about the decision yesterday, President Obama declaring waters in and near Bristol Bay off limits to oil and gas leasing. Good news is a new president can undo it, which we certainly hope that they will. Here's what Bill Walker said about it. This is in a written statement. The pristine waters of Bristol Bay feed some of the world's most premier fisheries. Walker said he looked forward to working with the federal government to develop areas in the state and offshore for oil and gas. Bristol Bay, however, is not that place.
So he's all on board.
With Obama.
Yeah. Well, it's as this is an easy one for the feds, I suppose, because there really isn't a big constituency for it. You know, they know that there's a lot of oil there, by the way, or they believe there's a lot of oil there. They think there's 30 billion barrels, which is 1.5 times the size of Prudhoe Bay. But it's still a huge, it's a huge area to have to go down into the waters. Now, can you do it without killing fish? Of course. I mean, of course. Does anybody deny that you can do these things without killing fish? I'm just so shocked that people are so uninformed, I suppose. You look back, though, at the disaster that happened in the Gulf of Mexico, the Deepwater Horizon. And just to give people a little bit of background on why it's so different, the oil in the Chukchi Sea is at 75 pounds per square inch, 75 psi.
That's the pressure.
Right.
And how deep it is.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And how much it wants to push itself out into the water.
Right.
So 75 psi is about 5 times, what the pressure is on us from the atmosphere. It's not very much. It's basically what's in your tires of your car. All right. So the problem they had was they were drilling really deep down in the Gulf of Mexico, and the stuff down there was at 7,000 pounds per square inch. And a bubble came up. This is what actually blew everything up. A 30,000 pound per square inch, at which basically steel starts to fail. And so that's basically what happened there. There's very few places, unless you get into the deep, deep parts of the ocean, that you're going to be running into those kinds of pressures, because we don't have good technology. The two things we didn't have there, first of all, we didn't have good deep water technology, good robots to be able to test things. So they hadn't done a good job of that. And then they weren't aware that these huge bubbles of pressure would come up. But that doesn't happen other places.
But Glenn, when you look at the disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, what year was that?
2009. It was Obama's first year, and his regulators actually allowed things to go forward.
Yes, they absolutely made the problem worse. This was the disaster big environment had been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
What came of it? What damage was done?
Yep, the fishing stocks did not suffer.
We had gobs and gobs and gobs of oil spilling into the Gulf of Mexico day after day, week after week. It is the mother lode of environmental disasters. It makes the Exxon Valdez spill look like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And what harm came of it?
Good question. This is what the environmentalists would say. Oh, all kinds of stuff.
They're wrong.
There was a little bit of oil underneath the sand on a couple of beaches in, Louisiana. You say, well, what fishing stocks were affected? Well, we think that there might have been a small effect on this or that fishing stock, but honestly, this is a much bigger deal than that. They just would never answer your question.
The plant life on the floor of the Gulf of Mexico has improved dramatically.
That's probably true.
As a result.
Look, there is always something that eats everything. I mean, essentially, that's what, unless it's, like nuclear waste, then.
If the media had an ounce of integrity, they would come out and proclaim, okay, the environmental movement is now dead. We've had the mother lode of all environmental disasters, the worst possible scenario you could think of. Not a tanker spilling, not a oil pipeline spilling. We're talking about gobs and gobs of oil spewing into. How many days did it spew until they fixed it?
I think about 20, 25, 30 days. I don't know. It just went on and on and on.
It is the worst. You saw the camera shot of it every day. Just all that oil. What came of it? It turns out we have, as your old buddy FDR said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yeah, well, what turned out to happen is the sea is able to handle and metabolize, essentially. If you think of this ocean as like an organism, it's able to metabolize lots and lots of oil. I mean, there's a huge amount of water out there in the Gulf of Mexico. For the most part, they couldn't even detect it. That's how little oil compared to how much water was out there. But for the rest of it, as you said, it was good for some plant life. The fishing stocks had essentially no effect a couple of years later. And then there is no effect.
We are so brainwashed.
Oh.
At what point do we lose sight of the very simple, basic, fundamental fact that oil comes from the earth? Oil comes from the ground. Oil is part of the earth. It's not some chemical manufactured in a lab, and then we go spill it all over the earth. When I covered that pipeline being shot up in Livengood, north of Fairbanks.
Oh, yeah.
And that oil spewing day after day, and there's puddles everywhere. Nobody was dying. There was no harm.
Yeah, in the end, whether we find people or whatever, then we cleaned it up, and we put that guy in jail, and we moved on. And you know what? The earth didn't care. The earth moved on too.
569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to join in. Let's go to Alex. Alex, you're on.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
A couple observations for your consideration. Not only is Lisa have some things to talk about with Obama's designation of Bristol Bay, so does our new governor. It provides him with his first test of how he's going to defend this state.
Well, did you hear what he said?
I did not hear what Mr. Walker said.
Here, I'll read it to you. This is a statement released. The pristine waters of Bristol Bay feed some of the world's most premier fisheries. He said he looked forward to working with the federal government to develop areas in the state and offshore for oil and gas. Bristol Bay, however, is not that place, unquote.
You would almost think that Mr. Walker has never been in Cook Inlet.
Yeah.
We seem to have oil platforms all over the place.
Oh, my gosh. What did you just say, Alex?
No, it's terrible.
That's not possible.
So what does this mean? What does this mean, Alex? Does this mean that we're not going to get a fighter with this new governor?
I'm afraid that the legislature is going to have to do with the new governor what the other legislature did with Tony Knowles.
Yeah. Well, if you look at who he surrounded himself with and his new constituency, he would have caught holy hell if he'd have come out and criticized the president. Would you admit that?
Depends on who he's beholden to.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's the D's.
It does. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate your call. 644. It does. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate your call. 644.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. From our handyman services to our award-winning kitchen design and remodel, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions Direct at 646-1403.
We all know Christmas shopping can be brutal, but I've learned that the easiest and best answer for gifts to friends and relatives outside is to handle it all with just one phone call. Yep, I send them new Segaya's Alaska Golden King crab for Christmas, and I never have to worry because new Segaya sends only the freshest, meatiest jumbo king crab clusters. 5 pounds of Golden King crab delivered by UPS overnight delivery anywhere in the continental United States. And it's packaged by New Segaya's experts with dry ice and gel ice in a tight styrofoam box. It's guaranteed to arrive fresh and ready to eat any day you specify. The fantastic crab feast, the boxing, the shipping, and the delivery, New Segaya takes care of all of it for you for just $155. No standing in line, just one phone call, and you can send it to as many places as you wish. So look, if you want to do it the easy way, call New Segaya's Crab Central, 561-5173. 561-5173. Send them crab for Christmas from New Segaya.
Hey, if you think all you need to know about beer is how to pop the top off the can, go to worldclassbeer.com. There's a whole world of beer out there, and worldclassbeer.com can help you navigate it. Learn the difference between an ale and a lager at Beer U. Get descriptions of all the craft beers and learn why they're so different. And when you see one you'd like to try, the Beer Spy Locator can direct you to the closest store. Worldclassbeer.com, designed to help you get closer to your beer. Brought to you by the Odom Corporation. Always drink responsibly.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
All right, welcome back. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel on KOAN, KBNT. Good morning to you. Our number 569-1080, 569-1080. We are streaming live on danfagan.us, both video and audio. So let's do a quick report card on the governor. He hasn't been in office very long. And this, of course, is based on our worldview. Glenn and I pretty much share the same worldview, and we would say his first official thing that he's done is decide to expand Medicaid, thank you. And so we give him an F for that, right?
Yeah, well, he's not been successful in doing it, and it turns out he's got to go to the legislature, and he's also got to appropriate money. So it's possible, yeah, he wants to.
Which is an F.
Which, yeah, so that's he definitely wants to.
It's like
if he doesn't do it, then I'd give him a C.
But why? I mean, just because you're that is even worse. It'd be an F minus.
Because he wants to do it, but he can't.
It's like people who want to kill themselves and don't. That just makes you an unsuccessful suicide person.
I suppose. If it was Byron Malott,
yeah,
Byron Malott would get this done. Okay, and it wouldn't make any difference what the legislature wanted. It wouldn't make any difference what anybody wanted, because he wants more left-wing values. He wants more people dependent on government.
So you're saying Malott's more competent than Walker?
I'm saying that Malott would essentially force the issue.
It would be more priority.
Yeah, there would be no other way that we would operate government other than, you will give me $100 million or whatever it's going to cost for us to get this done, and then we're going to get it done. So it might just be that he wanted to do it, but he didn't realize what was involved and how much it would cost us.
I suppose we could leave open the possibility that he just said that he wanted to do it, but he realized it would be a good idea. And so he may not. It's like with Obama and offshore. You know Obama doesn't want offshore drilling, but he pretended like he did. It could be one of those things where Walker just said it because it sounded good politically, and deep down he goes, I don't want to add all this to my state.
Yeah, well, I think he wants the support for the deep pockets in the medical industry.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think it's going to improve hardly anyone's outcome. This is my view of Medicaid. My understanding is people who use Medicaid don't have as good of outcomes as people without insurance.
Right.
I just want to say that again. When you put someone on Medicaid, you end up having worse medical outcomes than someone who does not have insurance. I
Right.
just want that to be clear. But
I
what
agree.
he thinks, what he wants is he wants the $1.5 billion that are going to flow in order to put all these people on welfare, on medical welfare, even though they're going to get worse outcomes. So I'm against the bad outcomes, but that's basically what he's trying to do is cozy up
Well, I'll tell you
to
what.
the special interest in the healthcare industry.
I'll go along with your C if he's not successful, but if he is successful, we'll give him an F.
Okay.
So that's his first test. Second test would be, I guess, the president taking off Bristol Bay waters, Walker saying, "Yippee, good idea.
Yep.
I'm down."
Well, and he already gave up this position a while ago. He was for Pebble Mine, and then all of a sudden when he brought Malott on, and Malott told him, well, these are things that you kind of have to do and that I won't do, Pebble Mine fell away real quick. And this is an extension of Pebble Mine because it's Bristol Bay, even though, as Alex just pointed out brilliantly, frankly, we have oil platforms operating in Cook Inlet where there are many. Do people not get this, Dan? I mean, is this that hard to figure out? There are many salmon stocks that go through Cook Inlet. Many. There are world-class salmon stocks that go through Cook Inlet. Many. And they are not affected by oil drilling and oil platforms because we have technology that can do this right. I don't get it. You people don't make any sense. You guys are fools, frankly. I mean, is that too strong?
I wonder, Glenn, what it is. So you're talking about the environmentalist?
I'm talking about the average idiot who's running around out there telling me that we cannot do oil and gas development and have fish in the same place. We do it all over the world. We do it here in Alaska or mining.
But it's not just the, wealthy son of an attorney from Berkeley who came up here with Sierra Club and he's 23 and trying to change the world, which, the environmental movement. The people out there don't want this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm really mad about because in the end, our jobs and our livelihood, and frankly, whether or not people stay in Alaska, that's going to be dependent on it. And I know there are a lot of people who say, oh, yeah, well, you should leave Alaska. They don't have any idea what they're saying. They don't know what that means. They don't remember 1987 or 1986 when 75% of the value of our houses. Because if people really leave Alaska and we really don't get production back up in the oil sector and we really don't get some of these other projects to come online, your house is not going to recover in 7 years or 5 years. Your house will never recover. The value of your house because there won't be jobs up here. And if we don't have jobs, we can't have people.
So do you think the people in Western Alaska, many of whom, not all, we've met many who would disagree with this, but many of whom do not want resource development. They don't want mining. They don't want pebble. They don't want oil and gas development. There's no job. There are no jobs out there.
Well, this is what I think is going through their minds.
Okay.
I think they want subsistence.
That's a priority.
They want their culture to survive. And what they've been convinced of is your culture is set against jobs. So if you have jobs, you'll lose your culture even more. Not you're losing your culture. That's a sad thing. But whatever parts of it you can keep, whatever level of subsistence you can keep as you fly around in your airplanes and drive around on your snow machines and all these other things, which are not part of your culture, whatever parts you can keep are all totally dependent on you having a job. Because the entitlement culture, the entitlement payments, transfer payments, will not continue. Alaska doesn't have the money. The federal government will eventually run out of money. And if you don't come up with an alternative, so what I think goes on through their minds is they say, we have to save our culture. That's preeminent, priority number one. Everything else is secondary to that. I don't care what it is. And if I am convinced at any time that your development threatens my number one priority, then your development is off the table. And they've done that in many, many ways.
Is that a legitimate concern?
No. It's completely insane. The perfect example is Tecumseh Mine up by Kotzebue. Come on, Red Dog Mine. They didn't lose their ability to have their culture when that mine came in. It actually supports their culture.
So if you're right, then there's a great deception going on in rural Alaska. People are being told something that isn't true, which is you cannot have your culture and have jobs.
Yeah.
But isn't there some truth to that? Because, and you explained their culture to me much better than I've ever had it explained to me just a couple of weeks ago, when you talked about their culture for decades has been about 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, gathering, hunting, fishing.
Not for decades. This is for thousands and thousands of years until modern civilization sort of washed up on their doorstep.
Everyone was needed.
Yep.
Nobody got time off. Nobody went on. I mean, it was just every single person was needed to survive. It was a survivalist culture.
Nobody was drinking all day.
No, you couldn't.
Beating up their wife.
Because people had to be involved in the gathering
Yeah.
to survive. It was a life or death thing.
Yeah.
Now that, to me, and I think the average person that doesn't sound like a very appealing culture.
It's not a lot of fun. That's not what they mean by subsistence anymore.
Okay.
What they mean is, as much as they can, they want to live off the land. They want to have the traditions where there's lots of time to, like this is what Red Dog Mine does. During hunting season, they just basically shut the mine down, or large parts of the mine down, because they basically give people a month or two off. That supports the culture that they have up there, so that people can gather, they can hunt, they can go and fill up their freezers, they can get ready.
Okay.
So what they mean by culture is just sort of a deference to as much tradition as they can fit, that they can keep. But yeah, it's not the hunter-gatherer lifestyle that they lived for thousands and thousands of years. So I don't think they mean that anymore. But the basic point, though, I think is still relevant. They see, okay, well, if anything impacts fishing, now you're stealing my culture, so a job really doesn't matter, because I want my culture more than I want your job. But those things are not at odds, and that's the problem.
Would they still say that if the government didn't come in and put schools for them and plumbing and give them a check every month and pay for everything that they need? Would they still say that?
I don't know what they'll say.
Take socialism out of the mix.
Yeah.
Would they still say, I don't want your jobs?
No, I don't think so. What I think would happen is the very rational process of, somebody from Bethel calls up to Kotzebue and says, okay, the checks have stopped. We either are going to have to move out, or we're going to have to figure out, tell me what goes on in your mind. I've never actually looked at it. I've seen some horror films and all that kind of stuff. But frankly, I know you and I trust you. Tell me what goes on with this mine. Well, we go and we work 12-hour days. They give us a couple months off during this. It's great for the family. I make $120,000 a year in paying benefits, and it's a great life.
We go to
I love
Hawaii
it.
once a year.
We go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
I got a new snow machine.
Yeah.
Frankly, they're really smart about it. Well, but doesn't it kill the fish? No, actually, the streams that surround Red Dog Mine are cleaner than they've ever been because we stopped the natural runoff. So there's actually salmon where there wasn't before. Really? Okay. Well,
6:58.
And where there wasn't before. Really? Okay. Well,
6:58.
After a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
Not just talk. Hot Talk. KOAN. Anchorage. 95.1 FM. 1080 AM.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. For the first time in 5 years, Alan Gross is on U.S. soil. The American was set free in Cuba today and flown to Washington on a plane with a congressman and 2 senators on board. And the U.S. is releasing 3 Cubans as a big change is coming in U.S.-Cuba relations. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live at the White House.
President Obama will announce in about an hour the biggest warming of U.S.-Cuba relations in 5 decades. The Associated Press reporting that means normalizing diplomatic relations, reopening a long-closed embassy in Havana, and easing embargo restrictions. In addition to Alan Gross, Cuba has also freed many of its own citizens considered by the U.S. to be political prisoners and someone described only as a non-American intelligence asset. The U.S. is part of the negotiation, releasing 3 Cubans, part of the so-called Cuban Five, convicted in 2001 for their part in a foiled spy network. Dave.
And Jared, a sister of Alan Gross, says family members were screaming and jumping up and down after learning that he had been set free. Now, as far as the politics and the Cuban relations side, Republican reaction is swift. Senator Marco Rubio, whose parents came here from Cuba in the 50s, calls easing the embargo and other restrictions absurd.
Par for the course with an administration that is constantly giving away unilateral concessions, whether it's Iran or, in this case, Cuba, in exchange for nothing.
Rubio says it won't improve human rights in Cuba or promote democracy there. Homeland Security says the threat the Sony Pictures hackers made to attack theaters playing The Interview is not credible.
Want to go kill Kim Jong-un? Totally. I'd love to assassinate Kim Jong-un. It's a date.
Now, The Warning has canceled tomorrow night's New York City premiere of the comedy about assassinating North Korea's leader, and Carmike Cinemas will not show it. There was no inflation last month. In fact, consumer prices dropped 0.3% as gas continues to get cheaper on Wall Street ahead of a Fed statement on the economy. The Dow is up 88 points. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This holiday season, a lot of jewelry stores are talking about value and quality, but talk is cheap. At Hellsberg Diamonds, we actually show you what real value and quality mean. With our remarkable asset device, you can see for yourself how and why a diamond sparkles the way it does. Join us as we celebrate 100 years of love with exceptional quality and extraordinary value. Hellsberg Diamonds, a Berkshire Hathaway company.
Attention men, are you urinating often, waking at night to urinate? We want to send you a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, made with a natural ingredient that supports healthy urine flow, bladder emptying, and is shown to reduce waking at night from the urge to urinate. You can try Super Beta Prostate free. Only pay shipping and handling. This free giveaway is available while supplies last. For details, just call 800-268-8137. That's 800-268-8137. Call 800-268-8137.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need, a quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-319-MY-TV. That's 877-319-MY-TV.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve. which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Happy holidays from Specialty Truck and Auto. Please help me make sure our military members know how much you're appreciated this holiday season. While you're out Christmas shopping or celebrating with family and friends, join me in shaking the hand of a military member and give a heartfelt thank you each and every chance you get. If you happen to see a military member out enjoying a meal, you might consider quietly paying for their meal as a sign of your gratitude for the sacrifices they make for each of us every day, which allows each of us the freedom to celebrate this holiday season in whatever fashion we choose. Thank you from Specialty Truck and Auto.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
6 minutes past 7 a.m. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel in the morning here on KOAN, KVNT in the Valley. Our number, 569-1080. Check us out on the internet, danfagan.us. We're streaming live, video and audio. Again, the number, 569-1080. Let us know how the traffic's moving this morning and whether the roads are cooperating. I was surprised to hear that the Anchorage Assembly last night, Glenn, voted 9-2, basically to say what? That we can sell marijuana here in our city?
Well, there were 4 different provisions of it, and it was a little bit broader than what I thought I was going to read, what I thought I understood about it. Let me go see if I can open up the story.
And
here.
by the way, our one of the people who voted yes, Amy Demboski,
Yep.
is that right?
She was one of the sponsors of it, yeah.
And she voted yes, that we should outlaw smoking pot.
Doesn't have anything to do with smoking
No,
pot.
selling.
Yeah, it's
Selling.
the manufacturer.
Okay.
It is businesses.
But it was all wrapped up in one vote.
Yeah. So let's see. This is the opt-out. Now, what's funny about this, and I'm surprised, well, I'm not surprised, but you knew it was a dodge when you heard it before. The pro-marijuana people were saying, look, if your city does not want to have all these dispensaries, just opt out. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Now, as it turns out, it's a big deal.
That we even talk about it.
Yeah, that we can
How
even.
dare you
Oh
question?
my God.
Yeah.
So they were able to convince a lot of people who were supposedly conservative about it. Let's see if I can figure out exactly what this does. They buried it way down here.
One of the things that Dennis had said, you could not sell pot.
Allows communities to ban commercial marijuana.
Right.
And that's growing it, selling it, and commercially. You could still own your plants.
Okay.
And you can
Got
go
it.
buy it somewhere else.
Right.
You can still have it. You can still smoke it unless you're smoking it and it's annoying someone else.
Yes.
Which is going to be a much bigger problem.
Yes.
So yeah, but it's a pretty broad. She took a pretty broad approach to it.
No, the vote was 7-2.
9-2.
9-2.
Which is shocking.
I know. I don't understand that. And one of the votes was a leftist, Paul Ottoman.
Right. Paul
So
Hahnemann, who was with the police department. Obviously, he's run across pot smokers doing
sure.
bad things.
So who are these leftists that we have on the assembly? We got Demboski who voted the right way. Who are these? What conservatives do we have on the assembly? Obviously none.
Yeah, we don't have a lot, certainly on this issue. I think that they're just keeping their heads down, I guess. I don't know. I took 2 things from it. I do think the Republican establishment, the conservative establishment, is moving much more libertarian. That's my view. And secondly, the leftists did not want to give Amy Demboski any kind of cover whatsoever. So this was essentially, do you like Amy Demboski? Do you not like Amy Demboski? That's how every story has been printed. All the comments have to do with exactly the same thing. So I'm just sort of putting 2 and 2 together. And my guess is they could have gone either way. A lot of people who were on the left on the assembly, and they said, I'm not going to give this lady, any cover whatsoever. For the conservatives, I don't know what they're thinking. I'd love to have some of those guys on. Amy's going to be on today, isn't she?
Do you think they're Coffee's corner and they don't want to cooperate with her? That That's pretty cynical. I mean, I hate to think that. Yeah, let's have more drugs in our town just so a candidate doesn't win for mayor.
I'd be surprised if that was. I don't get the sense that conservatives are that political where they're willing to harm society for their politics.
So who are the conservatives in the assembly? We had one of them on the other day. What's his name?
Bill Evans is on the conservative side.
He's alleged conservative, huh?
Well, yeah, he always has been, and I've been, with them several presentations from him, and I've always considered him a conservative. Bill Starr,
he's pretty flaky.
Yeah, I don't know. He's done some really good things, and I always thought he was, a conservative. Let's see, who else? I don't know. I'm not seeing anybody else poke up here at me.
Yeah. But I just couldn't believe it. 9-2.
9-2. You almost never get a 9-2 vote. It has to be almost non-controversial. This was the excuse, by the way, that the assembly members were using. If we cut off debate on this issue having to do with the city of Anchorage altogether right now and pass this very broad ordinance, which was very broad, we will not be included in the discussion for the regulations that come down from the legislature, to which my response was, what in the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you, the assembly, pass an ordinance which has very strong restrictions about the commercialization of marijuana in our city, our legislators stop becoming legislators? We rewrote the Constitution somehow? The people of the state of Alaska no longer have a voice to participate in a discussion? What are you talking about? And I couldn't figure it out. I mean, I'm still completely lost on this.
I'm shocked. We'll get some of these so-called conservatives on.
What about Reverend Michael Burke from Common Sense on marijuana in Alaska?
He's opposed to it.
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Oh no, Mike. He's the gay advocate guy.
Yeah, I think
I had
so.
him on a couple.
A group of business and faith leaders.
Let me tell you about Michael Burke. I had when they had the gay ordinance on, I had him on several times. Michael Burke is the perfect example of a clergyman who has adopted leftism as his or her belief system over whatever religion they're associated with. It's like when someone of the Jewish faith adopts leftism over
instead of
Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they embrace the Democratic Party, which is basically an anti-Israeli party, pro-Palestinian party, they're putting, Dennis Prager explains this very eloquently, they're putting their leftist belief system above their Judaism. Same as with Catholics embrace the Democratic Party, which is the party of the death culture.
Sure.
They're putting their leftist belief system above their Catholicism.
Sure.
Same with evangelical Christians.
And for Catholics, by the way, there are a whole bunch of Catholics who think that the purpose of government is to do the good works of the church.
Yeah.
Which is so odd because Jesus told everybody, look, if the world loves you, then you're not for me.
Yeah.
The world will hate you if you're with me. And so that's why it seems so odd to me for the Catholic Church to put so much faith and want the government to hold so much power when they should know governments don't save souls.
I don't know that the average American, I think most conservatives get this, how powerful the I used to call it a religion, but it's not a religion. I call it a belief system. The belief system, which is leftism, how powerful it is, how it so permeates every aspect of our culture. Education, clearly. The media, Hollywood. It's just such a big belief system. You agree with me? I don't think it's really a religion because it's not. The definition of a religion is search for God. That's kind of the whole context of what religion is. And they're not really looking for God. But it is a belief system.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something very, very deep. I mean, deep to the point where something that they would never allow conservatives to do, which is to tell their kids what they can and can't eat in their schools, they will allow a leftist to do because they're part of their movement. I don't know. It's very shocking, but it is. It's all-encompassing because there's one easy answer for everything. Oh, we've got a problem? The government will take care of it.
More money, government. 569-1080, 714. More money, government. 569-1080, 714.
and Biegel. Give him a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime, movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win stuff. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime.
Someone once said that too much nostalgia about the good old days is really just a sign of poor memory. Yeah, probably true, but one thing I sure miss from back then is cheap oil and cheap gas. These days, every time I fill her up or even turn on the thermostat, I can almost feel my wallet getting thinner. Well, there's not much we can do about the price of oil and gas, but some folks say we could save a lot of money by using Alaska's coal to generate our electricity. Now, that just makes good sense to me. We've got enough coal in Alaska to keep the lights on for hundreds of years, and it costs a whole lot less than oil or natural gas. Even better, clean coal technology allows us to keep our air and water clean, and that's good news for our environment. Yep, power from coal. It's abundant, it's affordable, and it's clean. Now that's a smart energy choice.
We're the people of Usabelli Coal Mine, helping energize a brighter future for Alaska.
It's the holidays, and for the U.S. Postal Service, this is our season, for many reasons.
Because we treat every package like it's from our own Aunt Kathy.
Because we have the manpower, the tech power, and the willpower to get the job done.
Because of amazing services like text alerts.
Because we deliver to more people in more places than anyone. Because through rain, sleet, snow, or whatever else Mother Nature throws at us, we bring our A game.
When it comes time to ship your gifts, trust the U.S. Postal Service, because this is our season. Priority you. For more info about our services, go to USPS.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
"7:17 in the morning. It's Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, broadcasting to you on 95.1 FM in Anchorage, 1080 AM in Anchorage, 92.5 FM in the Valley, 92.5 FM in the Valley, and then 1020 AM also in the Valley. It's KOAN, KVNT. We're also streaming on the internet, video and audio. Go to danfagan.us. danfagan.us. Our telephone number, 569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to join us. They're doing the, one thing you learn, Glenn, it's so funny when you're a news reporter in a town. If you're there a year, if you're there 2 years, if you're there 3 years, if you're there 4 years, each year you're there, this becomes more of a thing. But there are just some stories that are done every year.
Right.
The Alyeska story, there's no snow, they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, will they survive story. That was last night on KTV. I'm looking at it here on the internet. And there's just these stories every year. And it's always fear and loathing, and it never really, Alyeska ends up having a pretty decent year, and everybody gets all worked up over nothing. And you learn this as you're in a town. The whole first night it gets really cold. The homeless, will they survive?
Mm-hmm.
These stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The first day it snows, the accidents. These stories. Will we make it? Will we survive the snowy weather?
Now, do they have, by any chance, sort of a list of repetitive stories? What do they call? There are annuals and there are perennials. Which of those reseed themselves?
I have no idea. I guess I have no idea. Perennials, I guess, would be the...
Okay. Perennials reseed themselves. So
yeah.
These are the perennial stories that we just get to go through every year. Every year they're blossom and bloom.
Let me give you a little inside info on journalism. The hardest part of being a journalist is coming up with a story every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal. I mean, think about that. Every day you have to go into work and you have to come up with an interesting story today. And you know what? Tomorrow's Thursday. You got to do the same thing all over again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, Friday, yeah, you got to do it again. So stories are at a real premium. A really good reporter will go out and recruit sources and have a list of people you call. Cultivate's the best word.
Yeah.
And then, you're not going to the morning meeting empty-handed. Because there's a gazillion stories out there that you can do that have been done 1,000 times that nobody cares about, and they're boring as all get out.
Mm-hmm.
A really lazy reporter will typically go to the assignment editor and say, let me see the press releases. And I'll pull one of the press, the blood bank is low on blood. All right, here I go. I'm going to go do a 2-minute story of how the blood bank's low on blood. Right? Nobody cares.
I care.
You care?
But I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
So I'm not helping anybody.
The homeless story. What are we gonna do about the homeless in Alaska? The panhandlers.
Sure.
They're all they've all been done. They've been done 1,000 times. There's nothing new. I could pull up a story from 1993 that I did on the homeless and play it on the news tomorrow night, and no one would know the difference. Other than it was probably in a place where it was a warm climate.
Yeah, well, plus you could say that there's 20 million homeless in the city of Anchorage now.
Yeah.
And people are like, wow, 20 million, that's amazing.
Right.
Even though there's only 300,000 people here.
Right. So as someone who was on the inside of journalism for so many years, it's very difficult for me to watch the news because it's just so fluffy and unimportant and inconsequential. And there's just nothing worse than the anchors. And Channel 2 is not really bad at this. But Channel 11, I kind of get it from their anchors sometimes. When they come to you with this sense of, all right, here's something you really need to worry about.
Check this out.
Yeah, check this out, because this is really
breaking news.
This could be bad, and you need to know about this.
Brian loves cheese. Breaking news. News story.
Brian, this just in. Brian Huff admits, caught on tape, secretly eating cheese, even after repeated denials.
I'm going to change my name to Kim Jong-Hoff.
You are trying to make the leader of North Korea upset.
I'm calling him out.
Are you?
I don't think he should go around bullying people, and I want to take him on.
Call his haircut ugly.
I'm going to be at the movie theater on Christmas Day watching the movie, so come on.
This guy, Kim Jong-un, and his dad, Kim Jong-il, or whatever he said.
Now he's Kim Jong-dead.
These are two of the most evil people on the planet. Yeah. Well, when you look at what's going on in North Korea with the labor camps and the starvation, there's an incredible picture where you see North Korea at night and the peninsula of Korea at night. And in South Korea, it looks like a Christmas tree. The second you go to the dividing line, it's pitch dark. The poverty that people in North Korea live is and there are people down on the streets. You will walk down the street in North Korea, and there would be dead bodies all around.
Did you see the videos? Because they smuggled a couple of them out there.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it was terrifying because I watched this person essentially dying of starvation.
Yeah, it's
right
terrible.
On video.
It's terrible. And I don't know. And Glenn, we talk all this. You and I talk a lot about government and leftism. This is the road leftism leads us to. Every time. Margaret Thatcher's right. Eventually you run out of the people's money. But that's not always a good thing. Because that's an open door for a tyrant. That's an open door for a Kim Jong-il or Un, for an Adolf Hitler, for Fidel Castro, for a Mao Zedong. So, people I'm sure hear this, and like you said yesterday, we're talking about the difference between freedom and slavery and charity and a bureaucrat just, giving somebody a credit card. And the left says, you want people to starve. No. But you have to understand the path that you're walking down, while it may give you comfort and security now for your freedom, that path leads to North Korea. It's happened over and over and over throughout history.
Yeah. I don't know. Does it lead to North Korea, or does it just lead to... See, I think America has an even more important purpose than most people. So it doesn't take us getting all the way to North Korea. This world would be dramatically different if we were France.
Very true.
This world will be dramatically different if we're Italy.
Very true.
And so we're not... whether we're headed to tyranny, and tyranny is washing up on us, by the way. They actually just ruled some of the executive action of Barack Obama. What do they call it, where he's got the ability to enforce stuff or not to enforce stuff? They said that he'd stepped over the line. Where I think that they're moving us to is boys who don't know how to control themselves, who don't have a good education, essentially can't be employed. And so it's a much more dangerous country. It's a much crazier country, and at some point they may just say, our solution to this is we're going to prevent you from having children. We're going to take your kids from you and educate them so that you don't have that burden on you, and those kinds of things, So you can get to a point where you start to see sort of the outlines of the Grand Master Plan, which is, we're a little uncomfortable with your religious values, so we'd kind of like for you not to exercise them. And then they'll say, man, we'd like for you not to actually own a business, and we'd like for your kids to come and listen to us, and we don't really think you should be, the kinds of things that are going on in Germany right now. They don't let people homeschool. They require that they go to their government indoctrination
You're
centers.
not qualified to pass your values on to your children.
Right.
Government.
If your values disagree with our values, then our values have to win.
Yes.
So, I don't know that you get to Kim Jong-un.
No, you're right, Glenn.
But you get to weakness, and you get to the point where the government has the power struggle that goes on between a family and a government is won by the government, and that's not good.
Well, you nailed it, and it's really what this is all about, is that, if you lose an offensive lineman, you're going to be less effective as a football team. If you lose a defensive safety, if you lose your quarterback, you're going to be in real trouble. Your season's probably over. The United States right now is the quarterback of freedom on this planet. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot deny, and you just said it, that this world would be a completely different place had the United States not taken its stand for liberty in the last 100 years that it did. Sent many young men and women in harm's way who gave their life for freedom in the way that they did. You cannot deny that. I know you want to, but we have literally saved this planet. And if we're weak, like France, like Germany, like the United Kingdom, then the world, there's no one to stand up to evil. And that's why it's so crucial that we cannot embrace this comfort versus freedom mentality that has brought many a nation out of superpower status into mediocrity.
Yeah. Well, and I hope people know, and I don't like some of the things that are going on now, but look, I'm a conservative, and you might not be as conservative as me. I don't know. So, but there are a lot of things which give me trouble signs and make me withdraw from the power structures that want to indoctrinate people. And I imagine as they trip across your trigger line, whatever that is, whatever your firewall is, if you said, well, if they did X, Y, and Z, look, 5 years ago you'd have said, if they told me what I can eat and what I can't eat, that is absolutely unacceptable. They're telling your kids what they can eat and what they can't eat. And guess what? The let them eat cake people in the White House are eating whatever they want. And your kids are stuck with, I think, some stringy cheese and a couple of pieces of cauliflower. I mean, just something absolutely, completely ridiculous. A thing that you would find in a prison camp. So I mean, these kind of things are already happening. I know that the media is not playing them for people who are not conservatives. That most people who are not conservatives don't realize that many of their tripwires have already gone off. That a lot of government power, expansive government power, is being used, and it should make you very uncomfortable. The fact that you don't know about it, well, I mean, that's really the purpose of talk radio.
7:29 here on a Wednesday morning, the 17th of December. A week from tomorrow, Santa Claus is coming.
Mm-hmm.
That may be him now. Stay with us. Our Santa Claus is coming.
Mm-hmm.
That may be him now. Stay with us.
And now, the Fox News Business Report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are in the green ahead of the statement from the Federal Reserve's final policy meeting of 2014. Investors will be watching to see if the Fed drops its promise to wait a, quote, considerable time before starting to raise rates after keeping them near zero for the last 6 years. Energy stocks are leading the gains. The energy sector today posting its largest gain in 3 years. Wall Street is also watching Russia and the impact from the recent tumble in the ruble. The currency has recovered some of its losses following reports that the Russian Finance Ministry was selling foreign exchange reserves. At 11 o'clock Eastern Time, the Dow Industrials are rallying by 86 points. Shares of Darden Restaurants are rallying after the company's latest quarterly results topped expectations. Darden also showed progress in turning around its struggling Olive Garden chain. But FedEx moving sharply lower after the company's second quarter earnings missed the estimate. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lauren Simonetti.
This holiday season, give the most eternal, unique gift of the year. Name a star after someone. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we'll name a star after anyone on your gift list. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office, and we will send an incredible personalized gift package. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for the gift that shines forever.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. The federal government has withdrawn Bristol Bay from consideration for oil and gas drilling. In a video statement, President Obama called the natural resource too precious to be put out to the highest bidder. An Anchorage man has been found guilty in the murder 2 years ago of his former girlfriend. That story from Ann Kendall.
24-year-old Bukarim Miftari will be sentenced in April for the murder of 30-year-old Kristen Reed. The courtroom was cleared after an outburst by the defendant's supporters after the verdict was announced. The defense had argued unsuccessfully that Reed lived a high-risk lifestyle, such as selling drugs, and that someone else might have killed her and set it up to look like Miftari had done it.
Local planners have said no to a controversial plan from an Anchorage company to site a 35-acre construction and demolition debris landfill near an old gravel pit in Palmer. You'll hear much more. Simply stay tuned. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Today will be partly sunny with a high 28, then patchy clouds for tonight, a low 17. Partly sunny tomorrow, high 25, and a low tomorrow night of 18. Then remaining partly sunny for Friday, high of 28. Saturday becoming mostly cloudy, high 28, and Sunday clouds limit sun with a high 27. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to never be asked, what would you like for Christmas? And even if you did get asked, you know you wouldn't get it. For most teen youth in the foster system, this is a sad reality. But this year, you can change all that. This holiday season, you can make a difference with Pump Up the Kids. Alaska Integrated Media and this station have once again teamed up with the Alaska Center for Families and the Office of Children's Services for the 5th annual Pump Up the Kids. Did you know that we have hundreds of foster care kids who are in need? Kids who won't have much of a Christmas unless you help. This year, make a holiday wish come true for a local teen youth foster child by adopting a wish list. Go to alaskaim.com and click on the Pump Up the Kids logo to register. We'll contact you and get you a wish list, or simply make a donation.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do
You remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
I thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
Well, good morning to you. It's 7:36 here on a Wednesday morning, December 17th, 2014. And Fagan, Glen Biegel, KOAN, KVNT. Happy to welcome here in the studio Amy Dembowski. No,
so close.
No W.
So close.
Dembowski.
You got it. You got it.
Dembowski, like Democrat and then boss and
oh
then
no. let's not go there, Dan.
How you doing?
I'm good. I have to apologize in advance. I kind of have a hoarse voice, and I know you already hate my voice.
Oh, you're gonna make me apologize.
Oh, here we go.
It's a little scratchy this morning.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a compartment inside of me where that I know when I have to apologize to people.
You don't have to apologize
to
me.
Let me just finish here. and it's usually like 3 or 4 or 5 little, let's call them chips, just like a chip, that sit in that compartment internally, and they will not go away until I apologize. And they eat at me, and I typically, I'll apologize to 2 or 3, get rid of those chips, and then, there I go, mess up again. And then I got to get 2 or 3 more, and I've always got about 4 or 5 of them. You would be one of the ones.
You're cracking me up right now. Well, I have to tell you, you made me so nervous. Like yesterday when you called me, I became this squeaky little Minnie Mouse on the phone, and my pitch, I couldn't control it.
You have a wonderful voice.
Oh, see, now you're just fibbing.
No, honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. It's a long story because we were kidding about somebody had said something about your voice, and I was just really trying to give that person a hard time. It really was never about your voice. And then when I said something about it, I immediately thought to myself, I should have said that. You have a fantastic voice. There's nothing wrong with your voice.
Well, it is unique. I know that.
It's unique.
It's the voice that God gave me.
It's just like Bruce Springsteen has a unique voice.
Well, see, I don't sound a little bit...
Well, no, I'm not saying
Bruce
you sound like Bruce
better.
Springsteen. But, I mean, people have unique voices.
By the way, this is the process that he just went through. Bruce Springsteen is the boss. That's part of your name. That's how it happened. And
I love it.
That's the way that works.
Anyway, I'm sorry that I said something derogatory about your voice.
Well, thank you, but, sometimes the truth hurts. So.
No, you're fine. But do you forgive me?
I do.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and remove that chip.
Okay, please
from
do.
That compartment.
Please do.
All right, I couldn't believe. I could not believe 9 people on our assembly want more drugs in this town. Tell me about this ordinance you had last night, and tell me exactly what it would have done, and tell me who are the conservatives that voted against it.
I was the only conservative that voted for it. Let's start there.
For it.
Yeah, I'm the
only. What people voted for it?
Myself and Paul Honeman voted for it.
Who's not a conservative.
But he is a police officer,
right?
And he does understand the impact.
He's seen drugs.
So last night we had public testimony, and I had introduced an ordinance that would utilize some of the options in ballot measure 2, which was the option for local communities to opt out. And the reason I did it was really quite simple. When we look at ballot measure 2, we look at marijuana in general. What we do know is marijuana is a class 1 narcotic listed by the DEA. We know it's federally illegal. So with that, I always take the fiscal look. And what I recognize is we get a lot of federal funding, school district, Department of Health and Human Services, transportation, and look at our fiscal situation nationwide. What happens at the stroke of a pen if they decide communities that have opted into a commercialized industry that's illegal federally is no longer eligible for grant money?
I don't necessarily want to argue the ups and downs of your ordinance. I just want to know what it does.
Well, that's what, okay. So basically, all it would have done was opt out of the commercialized marijuana in
So you
Anchorage.
can't sell it?
You couldn't sell it. You couldn't cultivate it. You couldn't, for
you
commercial
cultivate it
use.
for personal?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This
So you
had
still get
no
high
impact.
every day?
Yeah, this had no impact on personal
You can
use.
still grow it in your home.
Yeah.
You can smoke your reefer, play your video games.
Yep.
But you can't sell it to anybody.
Sure.
And 9 people, and I understand the leftists who want anarchy. Who are the conservatives, and did they have children who said, yes, we want pot sold in our town?
Well, I don't know about the children part, but generally the conservatives on the Anchorage Assembly are looked at as Jennifer Johnston, Bill Evans, Bill Starr, myself, usually Ernie Hall.
So we don't have many of them.
Ernie Hall had actually introduced a sunset provision to tag on, and he would have voted for it, I think, if that would have, but that failed.
Why did that fail? Who
Because they
voted
just-
against that?
Well, it was 6-5, and that was kind of all over the board. So I don't remember exactly who voted against it, but I know I remember Bill Starr saying he was going to vote against it. So
What's his deal? Because there have been times in the past where I look at what he's done on the assembly. I think to myself, I thought he was a conservative. What's his deal?
well, he looks like a conservative until you get a real conservative next to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's usually very strong fiscally. In this particular situation, his argument was he wanted to have more leverage with the legislators. My position was very simple. This puts taxpayers of Anchorage in a position which they could be vulnerable to a loss of multi-million dollars of federal funding, which they might have to make up. And to me, we have the largest population base in the state of Alaska. There is no question, if we opt out now, the citizens of Anchorage would have more leverage in drafting the regulation, because big marijuana is going to come to the city and say, what is it you need?
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, and I explained how this is truly a negotiating tool, it's an opportunity for the citizens to have local control when these regulations are formed. But, the local legislators rejected that.
So let's look at him again. So you got Ernie Hall, who ran as Fran Omer's lieutenant governor. So he's been a Democrat a lot. I think people have been happy with him on the assembly budget-wise.
Mm-hmm.
He's been an ally of Mayor Sullivan, but he's really not a conservative. You got Bill Starr, who knows. Who's the other guy?
Bill Evans and Jennifer Johnston.
The Jennifer Johnston, she supported the gay ordinance, so we kind of know how strong of a conservative she is. And what's the deal with this Evans guy?
Well, I think what it came down to is he said that he thought this was premature. He wanted to see the regulations develop first and then make the decision. And he did comment that once the regulations come down, if it looks like a disaster, he'll vote to opt out then. So, we had a disagreement. And to me,
what do you say to that?
Well, to me, I say you get your greatest leverage by opting out now, because the industry is going to come court you and basically beg you to come back into Anchorage, and they're going to have to listen to what we're concerned about.
Well, so the opt-out, you wouldn't be able to grow it, so now you're going to be able to, unless we opt out at a future time, you'll be able to grow. And what does that mean, being able to commercially grow marijuana inside the city of Anchorage?
Well, there's absolutely no regulations drafted right now. So whether it's concentrates, those vape pens, whether it's edibles, there's no regulations. There's nothing to say it's not going to be set up next to a gun shop or next to a school or next to a church. That'll be part of the...
Next to my house, your house.
Yeah,
so what's the vape? So vaporizers allow you to get the drug without having to smoke it? Is that kind of what...
that's it. My understanding is they basically extract the oils into a concentrate, and like an e-cigarette or something, they can put it into some sort of something that could be inhaled.
I would imagine most people don't really have any kind of an understanding about what we've just done.
It's significant.
Amy Bosky. That's it, right?
Yep.
Is our guest, assembly member. We'll be right back. 7:44. Remember, we'll be right back. 7:44.
Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Trail Boss Solutions is your local award-winning, nationally recognized construction and remodel firm. From handyman services to kitchen design and remodel to custom home construction, Trail Boss Solutions has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Trail Boss Solutions is the only call for all your construction, design, and remodel needs. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
We all know Christmas shopping can be brutal, but I've learned that the easiest and best answer for gifts to friends and relatives outside is to handle it all with just one phone call. Yep, I send them New Sagaya's Alaska Golden King Crab for Christmas, and I never have to worry because New Sagaya sends only the freshest, meatiest jumbo king crab clusters. 5 pounds of Golden King crab delivered by UPS overnight delivery anywhere in the continental United States. And it's packaged by New Sagaya's experts with dry ice and gel ice in a tight styrofoam box. It's guaranteed to arrive fresh and ready to eat any day you specify. The fantastic crab feast, the boxing, the shipping, and the delivery, New Sagaya takes care of all of it for you for just $155. No standing in line, just one phone call, and you can send it to as many places as you wish. So look, if you want to do it the easy way, call New Sagaya's Crab Central, 561-5173. 561-5173. Send them crab for Christmas from New Sagaya.
It's the time of the year that true Alaskans live for. It's ski season. Grab the kids and the skis and head up to Hilltop Ski Area. Now open 3 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. on weekends. Hilltop Ski Area offers great prices on lift tickets and even offers discounts to students, military, and seniors. Don't know how to ski or want to become a shredder? Sign up today for ski and snowboard lessons. Visit us online at hilltopskiarea.org or call 346-1466. Celebrating our 32nd year of operation, Hilltop Ski Area, providing fun for Alaska youth and their families.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 KOAN.
7:47 on this 17th day of December. Fagan Biegel in the morning of KOAN, KVNT. Also streaming live, danfagan.us. Our good friend Keith Montauk, especially Truck and Auto. He has 6 ASC certified mechanics working with him. What does ASC stand for? I have no idea. But I know it's an organization that only certifies really, really good mechanics. So it means
I think it says automotive service engineer. Or
is that
something
right?
Like that.
Yeah. It means they know what they're doing. Yeah. Keith's been in business a long time. You've heard me talk about him for years. And that's from personal experience. He's worked on many a vehicle for me. And he's just a trustworthy guy. Especially Truck and Auto, right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. Here's the number, 349-1637, 349-1637. We're talking currently to current Assembly Member Amy, let me say it, Demboski.
You got it.
Thank you. I had to visualize it. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with your name.
See, but if you write it a couple times, it makes sense when you write it, right?
Yes, it does. It was easy to see and write it. Here's my suspicion, being a somewhat cynical person at times. Because, I don't understand why anybody would want more drugs in their town. I just don't understand why anybody who has a child, has a niece, has a nephew, who knows a kid, who's seen a child, would want kids, anybody, and you say, well, it's still going to be illegal with children. Come on, it's going to be more, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. And I saw what it did to Northern California. It devastated it. We've seen what's happening in Denver. I just don't understand why anybody would say, yes, as an elected official, I want to bring more drugs to my community. That's one of the things I want to do as an elected official. My suspicion is, Amy, that these 7 assembly members who aren't hard left anarchists voted against your proposal because they didn't want to piss off the potheads.
They're just afraid.
They're afraid because they know potheads, man, you take away their weed, that's like taking away their oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to say the discourse last night was far more civil than I had anticipated and the messages that I had received. But, like I said, when you look across the town, this was almost a 50-50 vote. I mean, it passed by 51%.
Here in Anchorage?
Yeah, Chugach Eagle River voted it down by almost 60%. South Anchorage voted it down, I think, by nearly 8 points. So, there are big segments of the population that voted it down. And what that tells me is when the vote's that close, we have to be cautious, we have to be mindful, and we have to do this right the first time. Because, like I said, federally, whether you like it or not, it's still illegal. And that puts the taxpayers in a situation.
But it's the fervency of the pothead.
They're pretty passionate.
It's their life. Everybody I've ever known who smokes pot, smokes it every day, and it's their life, and all their friends smoke. So when you touch someone at their core, it's like taking away somebody's religion. I mean, you're gonna get an enemy for life as a politician, and I believe it probably factored in. Maybe I'm wrong. 569-1080, 569-1080. If you'd like to speak with Amy Dembowski, no, Bosky.
You got it.
569-1080. Let's go to Joe. Joe, you're on.
Thank you, Dan. Hello, Glenn.
Hi.
Amy Dembowski, how are you?
Good morning, Joe.
It just flows off your tongue. You're such a better orator than I am.
Yeah, I like the fiscal conservacy part of you, and that's what I am. I'm a fiscal conservative. Dan kind of thinks I'm a liberal in some other areas, but there's a
if I have one word to describe you, Joe, it would just be this. It would be wonderful.
Hey, thank you,
I just
sir.
find you to be a wonderful person.
Wow, thank you. That was nice. But anyhow, there's this drug here in Alaska and in Anchorage that's the most devastating drug that I've ever seen. I quit doing it 19 years ago come February 8th. Eddie Burke on the afternoon show quit doing it. But there's a lot of people in Alaska that have a problem getting rid of it. And this drug has killed so many people, hurt so many people. And I'm going to ask you if you could carry the crusade here for me.
What's the drug?
And that is to get rid of the alcohol.
Well, you're never going to get rid of alcohol.
I think
you're not going to get rid of marijuana?
They tried prohibition. I don't think anybody's advocating, no one on the assembly was advocating for prohibition.
Or do something to get better control of that hideous drug, alcohol.
Well, there's no question that alcohol has ruined lives.
Joe, it's a separate issue, though, isn't it?
It is.
Drugs are drugs. If you have a liquor license, you're a drug dealer.
Well, Joe, I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. 569-1080, 569-1080. We're talking to Assemblyperson Amy Dembowski. Bosky.
You got it. Bosky.
Let's go to Charles. Charles, you're on.
Yeah, in the recent budget that was just passed, didn't they take out all the money for the feds to enforce federal marijuana laws in states that are legalizing marijuana? So, and I read that about a week ago. So, this is really just about liberty. It's about freedom. There's lots of things that are bad for people: chocolate cake, chocolate chip cookies, chocolate milkshakes. I mean, where does it end with the nanny state trying to save us from ourselves? People should be free to do what they want as long as it doesn't harm other people's person or property. Prescription drugs are killing a lot more people and causing a lot more problems than marijuana in Alaska and across the whole country.
Amy?
Well, what he's talking about specifically is medical marijuana. They're not prosecuting that, but federally, I got to tell you, marijuana is still a class 1 narcotic. I mean, it is. That's what the DA lists it as. And all I was saying is because of that, we have to be pragmatic. We have to engage our federal delegation to make sure that there's safeguards in place, that the stroke of a pen, some executive order doesn't come down and say that the state of Alaska or the city of Anchorage is no longer eligible for federal grant funding, because the fact is we have a commercialized industry that is still federally illegal, like it or not.
569-1080 to talk to Amy Dembowski. 569-1080. Jake, you're on.
Morning, Glenn. Morning, Dan.
Morning.
I just wanted to throw in there with your comments earlier, Dan. I voted against it, but people that smoke dope already smoke dope. Making it legal is not going to make any difference. They're still going to smoke it.
You don't think it'll increase its usage?
No, because, well, I know people that smoke dope too, and but it's already available. It's illegal, and it's like, it doesn't stop anybody from smoking it. They already smoke it. I voted against it because the regulations just aren't good enough. It's like, it needs to be written down somewhere, because the stuff that went on in Colorado, they pushed it through, and then there's a moratorium on how long it's going to take before they can make changes to it. That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
But the people that smoke dope already smoke dope. Just because it's legal now, they're smoking dope last year too, and it was illegal then.
Yeah.
Man, I'll take the rest off the air. I just wanted to say that.
Well, Jake, I agree with you. And, my whole point was, here again, we're in a situation where we're passing a very complicated law because we're opting into a federally illegal substance to commercialize it. We have no idea who's going to develop the law, the regulations. We have no idea what they're going to look like. So to me, it put the city of Anchorage in a much better position if we step back, look to see what those regulations and those rules were going to be in fiscal impacts, and then made an educated decision.
569-1080, 569-1080 to talk to Amy Demboski, assembly person. Let's go to James. James, you're on.
Yeah, I was just listening to everybody. It's something that's new, There's going to be a lot of people uncomfortable with it. When it comes down to it, I think somebody was saying it's about votes, and it's about capitalism. It's about making money. You know what I mean? Somebody was saying a couple weeks ago about oil prices being down. There's ways that they need to pick up that slack, and selling weed is a good way to do that. And eventually, I don't know if it'll be 10, 5, 15, 20 years. Eventually, it won't be a federal offense. Every state will be doing it, and there's no need for the federal government to start, prosecuting people.
So you think marijuana will be a big enough industry to help supplement the fall off of the oil industry?
Absolutely. And now that it's legal, even more people are going to do it. You know what I mean?
I think that's a good thing.
Not that I don't smoke weed, not that I like it, but yeah, this is America. We should have the freedom to do what we want to. Because the FDA approves a pill doesn't mean that it's right. They got this drug called Risperidone and other drugs, Oxycontin. They got Rispidone's got little men growing breasts. Oxycontin has rich people and poor people. Their kids addicted to it. It's synthetic heroin. They're slinging drugs too. You know what I mean? But they have the government seal on it.
James, I appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, what's the next step, Amy?
Well, the next step is the state is going to take it up in Juneau. So that'll
be this session?
Yeah, that'll be this session. I think this is going to be the biggest issue that they face. And like I said, it's imperative that not only state legislators, but we have to get the congressional delegation involved.
And this stuff won't hit the streets until we have the regulations in place.
So they say.
Okay. Thanks for keeping up the good fight.
Well, thanks for having me.
Amy Demboski.
You got it.
How about that?
Merry Christmas.
Same to you. 7:58, Fagan Biegel in the morning.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you. 7:58, Fagan Biegel in the morning.
After a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
KOAN Anchorage. It's not just talk, it's hot talk. 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Lisa Brady. American Alan Gross, imprisoned for 5 years in Cuba, is back in the U.S., walking off a plane just a short time ago at Andrews Air Force Base after a surprise prisoner swap in exchange for 3 Cubans jailed in Florida for spying that could signal a sudden thaw in U.S.-Cuba relations. President Obama about to explain it all. There have been reports that diplomatic positions will be normalized, embargo restrictions eased. Arizona Republican Senator Jeff Flake, who was on the plane with him, says Gross has expressed hope this ordeal might lead to positive changes. Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio, though, whose parents are Cuban immigrants, doesn't think so.
This notion that somehow being able to travel more to Cuba and send more money to Cuba and travel and sell more consumer products in Cuba, the idea that that is going to lead to some democratic opening is absurd.
Rubio praising the release of Alan Gross, but he calls a positive move to normalize relations with Cuba a unilateral concession by the Obama administration. The long-closed U.S. Embassy in Cuba expected to reopen, and that's drawn swift reaction in Miami's Little Havana, where Fox Radio's Evan Brown is live.
Lisa, there's a small crowd gathered outside the famed Versailles restaurant here in Miami's Little Havana neighborhood. It's mostly old-time Cuban Americans who escaped the island, and there are mixed feelings about the U.S. opening relations with Cuba.
Nothing can happen if you don't take it out, the terrorista from the Cuba. Because Castro didn't want to change the whole Castro regime, it continued to ascend.
But there are some here who feel that if the U.S. can talk to China and Russia, they can talk to Cuba, especially if it benefits the Cuban people, Lisa.
Evan, thanks. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
This holiday season, a lot of jewelry stores are talking about value and quality. But talk is cheap. At Hellsberg Diamonds, we actually show you what real value and quality mean. With our remarkable asset device, you can see for yourself how and why a diamond sparkles the way it does. Join us as we celebrate 100 years of love with exceptional quality and extraordinary value. Hellsberg Diamonds, a Berkshire Hathaway company.
Attention men, are you urinating often, waking at night to urinate? We want to send you a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, made with a natural ingredient that supports healthy urine flow, bladder emptying, and is shown to reduce waking at night from the urge to urinate. You can try Super Beta Prostate free, only pay shipping and handling. This free giveaway is available while supplies last. For details, just call 800-268-8137. That's 800-268-8137. Call 800-268-8137.
President Obama's
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Are you unsure about how to use the health insurance marketplace at healthcare.gov? I was, until I went to a free educational session presented by a United Way navigator. I got questions about the Affordable Care Act answered, learned about options for coverage, how to use the online marketplace, and got assistance with enrollment. Now I'm signed up for the healthcare coverage I need. To hear more about these free sessions, call 211 or 1-800-478-2221.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Here's my good friend, Keith Monternock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
6 minutes past 8 o'clock. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, right here on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live audio, video on danfagan.us. Our number, 569-1080. You know, Glenn, the left has always had the Hollywood left has always had a fascination and a love affair with Cuba, because Cuba is a communist nation. Was it Robert Redford made a movie about Cuba? Warren Beatty, his movie Reds, pro-Cuba. Of course, Sean Penn, hard leftist, loves Castro. And the basic fundamental belief is, you say something against the government, we lock you up for 20 years. But you get free health care. Yeah. Everybody's the same. That's all we care about is equality. Equality has always been our focus, much more than freedom. So why not?
Can they see how just vast amounts of suffering in Cuba? It just doesn't bother them?
It's about equality. It's always been about equality. And now the president has come out and announced today that he's going to normalize full diplomatic relations with Cuba.
So the point of having a problem with Cuba when it started, I mean, the dictators took over, and we decided that we're going to cut economic ties with them.
Yes.
Do we do that with other dictatorships, or is it because close proximity of these guys to us, or what?
It happened. The Castro Revolution happened in the late 50s, early 60s. It was 59, 60, 61. Then we had the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1963, where the Soviet Union parked several ballistic missiles.
Did that set us off?
That greatly severed relations.
Okay.
With the Cuba and the United States, and then
because they were a satellite country to the Russian
Soviet
Empire.
Union. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But even after the Cold War ended, they maintained their communist philosophy, and they lock up. It's terrible poverty in Cuba.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, and a more conservative group of people you will not find than Cubans living in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing group of people, and they vote Republican almost 100% because they've seen what the left offers in Cuba, and most of them escaped Cuba after the revolution.
They've seen what equality looks like.
The obsession with equality over right and wrong.
Right.
The prioritization of equality over freedom. So Mr. Obama, being a man of the left, has decided, as the lame duck with 2 years left, I will embrace communism. I will embrace leftism, and we will completely normalize relations. Now, Marco Rubio is quoted as saying this is going to do absolutely nothing to further human rights and democracy in Cuba.
Well, you know what I would like to, because at least Marco Rubio gives me something to go on, like some measuring stick. I mean, I'll admit, just in general, I'm not all that clever to try and figure out what the right thing to do for people like this. I do know that when we used to trade with them, essentially they would take all the value of the trade, they would leave the people nothing, and so any trades that we did with them, from my understanding, benefited the average person, not at all. I would really like it if the left is going to do things like that, if this president is going to do things like this, that he would give us some measuring sticks. This is what I expect to happen. These are the good things that I expect to come from this, so that then we can measure him against those, whether they do happen or whether they don't happen. I don't know. That's always my dream. Is you're always looking for some kind of some kind of a plan in the leftist remarks. Basically, mostly they just use veiled threats. They use general objections to this or that, or general hopes, things you can never measure, and so that they can't be held accountable.
Well, you've got the hard left, people like Sean Penn and people like who's the guy who does all these conspiracy movies, JFK and Wall Street and what's his name?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he's a hard leftist. And Warren Beatty. All these folks, they really are blind to human rights violations. Because all they care about is equality. It's such an obsession.
Other than their own equality, because they're all rich.
Yeah, I know. Can you explain that to me, Glenn? Where that comes from? Why that?
Oliver Stone,
right? Why that prioritization from freedom and to right and wrong, and to what's true, what's not true? It's all about equality. Why is that so? Why are leftists so obsessed with equality?
Well, I guess I would say a few things. First of all, working for a movie is not that hard, and they get paid enormous amounts of money. So I think that they are ashamed.
Guilty.
Yeah,
because they're living in their mansions.
They carry this just enormous amount of guilt for what they've done. Which is they are reaping massive benefits off of Hollywood, which is a horrible place. And so
poisoning our culture.
Yeah, essentially, I think that they feel badly about that, and they're always trying to get rid of it. So they're looking for some kind of a cause for which offsets this ridiculous level of opulence and kingship and queenship and all these things.
Great word, opulence.
And that they're just trying to look for something to soak out, that they build up this massive mansion that they live in, they waste all this, they're having these foods that are outrageous and just crazy, and parties and taking drugs or whatever, they have these horrible relationships, anyway, all this nutty stuff, and so that all counts against them. So they're looking for something. I think that in the end, they're looking for rightness, not necessarily with God, but just with like a karma thing,
fighting for the little guy.
That's what I get the sense that they think that they're doing, even though you're right, they could never do that in a real sense, because if they look at the equality situations that they're looking at, they are not helping anyone.
There's this great line in the movie Broadcast News, which is a real motivating factor for me. It's back in the 80s, early 80s, I think, and Jack Nicholson is the main anchor. He's kind of like the Dan Rather.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to close down the Washington, D.C. bureau, except for 2 or 3 jobs. It had like 30 people in it. And there's Dan Rather, the anchor, talking to the head of it, CBS News, saying, gosh, I just feel so bad for these people. Everybody's packing up their boxes, and they're all but ready to leave their office for the last time. And this is just so terrible. I can't believe this is happening. And the guy, who is actually a producer, looked to him and said, well, if you took a 10% pay cut, they all could keep their jobs. And he just kind of looked at him and he just walked away. But it was like the perfect hypocrisy of the left.
Moment of clarity.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't pretend to get the left. I mean, I gotta admit to you that
I just don't.
I do think this though, Dan. I think this is a difficult thing, and that is just in the same way that if I was a teacher, in every good thing in my whole life, my power, my education, my health care, my paycheck, everything about life came from government. I do wonder whether or not I would be able to resist the temptation to think, you know what? Government is where all good things come from. And I think that would be, that is a temptation that I don't put myself in the position of ever having to fall under. Same thing for people who hire the unions who hire their bosses to give them a pay increase at the expense of everyone else.
Fagan, Biegel in the morning, time 8:14. King.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win stuff. Plus some information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
You know, there are many people in Anchorage who have their own special place for gifts for occasions like Mother's Day or birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. Into Bell's Nursery and Gifts they go. And there's always something perfect. Bell's Gift Shop on Specking Road has a truly incredible selection of unique creative gift ideas. Crystal, glass, and china and flatware, a wonderful kitchen section, candles, lotions and potions, and of course delicious C's candies, and lots more. Great for browsing or finding that special gift. The Gift Shop at Bell's Nursery on Specking Road.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080.
$817, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, right here on KOAN, KVNT. Our number 569-1080.
AR Roofing, big enough to serve you, small enough to care, truly great at what they do, and if you've ever looked at one of their work sites, you'll know why and how the impossible happened. And to me, the impossible is a roofing company getting Better Business Bureau Business of the Year, because it's just a hard industry to please everyone. I mean, can you imagine every little situation about a roof, every little situation about your property? If you leave a nail on the ground, obviously that's going to put a hole in somebody's tire, and then it's going to be a problem. They never do that. If you haven't seen their work site, and I imagine other roofing companies are probably going to go look at their work site now that I'm bringing that up, but you'll find out how they accomplished the impossible. Give them a call, 345-5555. Commercial, residential, industrial, they can do it all. They're great at what they do. Earhart Roofing, when you think roofing, think Earhart, E-A-R-H-A-R-T.
I don't know if you know this or not, Glenn, but I have a bit of an anger problem.
Never noticed that.
Sometimes I get pissed off. And I don't mind, I don't mind like a Les Guerra, who's a true leftist, stands for equality over right and wrong, doesn't embrace capitalism. He's very honest about it. 99.9% of everything he'll do will hurt the economy and promote government growth. And I'm okay with that because he is who he is. I just don't like it when people pretend to be who they aren't. And when the NRA gave Mark Begich an A rating,
A-,
after Begich had voted in favor of the 2 Supreme Court justices that are the most anti-gun Supreme Court justices in the history of mankind, and I remind you that if we're going to lose our gun rights, it's going to be through the Supreme Court. And, it doesn't really matter the minus part, because all Begich has to do is say, hey, I got an A rating from the...
Sure. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
Yeah. And now, of course, they've got this Attorney General, or Surgeon General, who's another major rabid anti-gun person, and Begich votes for him. And I guarantee in 2 years, when Begich is up for election again, the NRA is going to give him another A. What good are they? Why would you give the NRA a penny? I've been trying to get an NRA person on here to just really help me understand how you can take no single individual has done more to hurt gun rights in the history of Alaska that isn't Alaskan than Mark Begich. And you're giving him an A rating?
That's shocking. I don't know. I don't know how people who look at the NRA, I don't know how they match that up. I know what they would say is, well, look, the NRA does a lot of good things. It's in the schools. They help educate kids. They do all these training classes. And federally, when we fight an issue, they usually win. They almost always win because when they're going to score you on it, everybody's got to toe the line and everybody's got to come in line and get things done. But I agree with you. In the end, if what they're fighting for isn't going to result in you having a gun right because the Supreme Court justices, that the people that you gave A's to, they all stripped it from you, well, that to me isn't really holding up the intent of your organization long term. So I don't know how, even now, I don't know how they justify it. I mean, what they say is we're the most important gun organization in the United States.
The battle lines for our gun right lies in who we elect in the Senate and how they vote on Supreme Court justices, period. And if the NRAs are going to give good ratings to senators who vote for anti-gun Supreme Court justices, they're part of the problem because they're giving Begich false cover.
I think, by the way, this is another thing that go back to schools. They're not going to give you the real statistics about what really happens with guns and how often they're used in order to defend life versus take it.
That's right.
They're just not going to tell you that.
Nope.
And so, if you miseducate somebody for long enough, they're going to be convinced, as most people are, look, the gun is the problem.
I'd like to hear from an NRA member. 569-1080, 569-1080. I'd like to know, do you agree with me? Do you support the NRA that would support a Mark Begich who, more than any other Alaskan, has done more to harm gun rights by his 3 votes as the U.S. Senator? Am I wrong on this? And I know a lot of people, they swear by the NRA, and I used to think it was a great organization, but when you're going to give a guy who's voting against or voting for Supreme Court justices that are so anti-gun, I'd like to hear from you. 569-1080.
Who do they endorse, by the way, between Begich and Sullivan?
There was no endorsement.
Okay, they didn't endorse.
No. Can you imagine the difference in those two guys?
Yeah, I can.
When it comes to gun rights?
I can not only imagine it, I've seen it. It's pretty dramatic.
What good are they?
I don't know.
And I know our good friend, we both love him. He's such a great Alaskan. Wayne Anthony Ross.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's on the national board.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest people I've ever known, frankly.
Just an incredible man.
A deep friend of mine.
Just one of the, it's not just that he's a great man, but he's so delightful to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Just
he lights up a room.
Oh, when the legislature, out of spite for Sarah Palin, rejected him as Attorney General, that was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. Definitely.
He would have been an incredible Attorney General.
No doubt about it. So Walker now he's on record with being on the Obama administration's side, saying that, well, I'm glad Bristol Bay is off limits to oil and gas development. Jason Bruni sent me a piece on my Facebook page and said it was but a short 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, that the Bristol Bay Native Corporation actually supported the development of oil out in Bristol Bay, which goes to show you, Dan, how powerful Bob Gillam's message about anti-mining is seeping out into all other resource development areas in the state.
I remember it was 10 years ago. It was a resolution at the Bristol Bay Native Corporation's annual meeting at the Hilton Hotel. I covered it for Channel 2. It was shocking to me. I couldn't believe it. I was thrilled. Of course, I didn't let my voice known because I was a reporter. I thought this is a really big deal. And a lot of people were shocked by it. A lot of people were really angered by it. But you're right. I don't know what has happened to this Native Corporation, but what's Gillam's leverage? Is it just his money? Is it?
Well, he convinced them that you can't have mining in fish. You can't have oil development in fish. Essentially, you can't have anything in fish.
But does he believe that, Glenn, or does he just want his lodge protected?
He wants his lodge. He didn't want a bridge. It actually came down. He wasn't all that worried about the bridge, but he wanted his lodge, but he wanted the bridge a couple miles further away.
Right.
But they said, look, we can't put the bridge there. It's not possible. The only place this bridge can go is right here. And he said, well, then it's a no deal.
Yeah, I remember I flew out on a helicopter over there and saw where they wanted to put the bridge and where Gillum did. And
yeah.
It's pretty clear that they couldn't do it the way he wanted it.
Yeah. And isn't that funny, though? But if somehow they would have given in, I mean, thousands and thousands of Alaskans would probably have jobs now if we had, I guess given in to him. Look, he's a billionaire. Billionaires write the rules, I guess.
No, when we elected Obama, Pebble was dead for 8 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's. Well, what if we give him the benefit of the doubt? What if he honestly believes that the fishing industry or the fishing habitat or the fisheries will be damaged? And yeah, he owns a lodge out there and he likes to go fishing, but it's not an economic thing for him. It's just that he wants his prioritization of the fishery out there is so out of whack that he doesn't want. He's not willing to take any chance.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that. Look, there are 26,000 operating wells in the Gulf of Mexico. And I don't know whether or not people on the left can hear what I'm saying. Could you process this with me for just 5 seconds? There are 26,000 operating wells in the Gulf of Mexico. There are 27,000 that have actually been shut down. In other words, capped.
In addition to the 26.
In addition to the 26 that are currently operating. And somebody brought that up saying, well, see, it can be bad. And what I said was, are they leaking? That's a proof that we know how to do this.
Yeah.
Not that we don't know how to do it. We do know how to do it. They are doing it. There are world-class fisheries all over in the Gulf of Mexico. We have a world-class fishery right here, as Alex brought up just 2 hours ago. He said, well, the Cook Inlet actually has oil and gas drilling platforms in them too, and they're not affecting or impacting fish development. Look, I don't know how any rational person can believe that we do not know how to do oil and gas development, in particular in fish. Now, for mining and fish, I thought the experience we just had, by the way, out in Canada, they had the Mount Polley mine essentially gave way. They were operating against the regulators. Then the regulators allowed them to keep operating. It didn't force them to change. It's kind of a crazy setup that they had there. But anyway, so all this water and sand and dirt came rushing out. And you know what they found 2 days later? No fish had died.
No harm.
No harm. No harm had been done. The levels were essentially, the worst case scenario had actually happened. So even in Mount Polley, it looked bad. There was turbidity. In other words, there was dirt in the water, which eventually fell out after a week or so. But there was no damage to fish. And so what I know people want to believe the worst possible thing, that in the tailings pond, it's a massive storage of a huge chemical dump. That's not what it is. There actually will be fish in the tailings pond. They have fishing tournaments in tailings pond all over Canada. I know that, but none of this makes any difference because, Dan, there's one thing the left knows better than I do, and that is fear sells. Fear is much more fun. It's exciting for people to be in fear.
What are they afraid of?
We're going to kill all the fish.
And fish take priority over.
No,
jobs.
Nothing takes priority. Fear takes priority. Fear is all they're selling. It's not about fish. We already know that we can do mining and fish. We already know that current modern dams, even amongst the strongest earthquakes that have happened in the last 100 years, have all held. They were down in Chile and a number of other places down in South America that had 8.6 or 8.7 magnitude earthquake, 46 mines in the direct vicinity. None of them failed. So we know how to do mines. So all these things are just about fear. It has nothing to do about fish.
Worry and fear.
Yeah, but those are fun. I love worry and fear. Get up every day.
One thing I've noticed about mankind, especially the female gender.
Uh-oh.
When someone sets their mind to fear and worry, nothing you can say to change it.
No.
They're going to sit in that worry and fear, and they're going to wallow it.
Yeah.
Stay with us. That worry and fear, and they're going to wallow it.
Yeah.
Stay with us.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Local planners have said no to a controversial plan from an Anchorage company to site a 35-acre construction and demolition debris landfill near an old gravel pit in Palmer. More than 100 people who oppose Central Monofill Services' plan attended the meeting. The vote by the Mat-Su Planning Commission was 3-3, but since it needed 4 to pass, the plan failed. As our own Ann Kenda reports, Google has revealed the top searches in Alaska.
The top Google search of the year was Robin Williams, as people sought more information about the legendary actor's unexpected death by suicide. The Iditarod was the second search, followed by the World Cup, Ebola, the Funny River Fire, the Alaska election results, Jennifer Lawrence, the death of Philip Seymour Hoffman, the death of Joan Rivers, and how to play the online game Flappy Bird.
That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Today will be partly sunny with a high 28, then patchy clouds for tonight, a low 17. Partly sunny tomorrow, high 25 and a low tomorrow night of 18. Then remaining partly sunny for Friday, high of 28. Saturday becoming mostly cloudy, high 28, then Sunday, clouds limit sun with a high 27. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Happy holidays from your family at Worthington Ford. We wish you and yours all of the health and happiness in the world. Please be safe this holiday season, like Grandpa always said.
Hey, if you drive, don't drink. If you drink, don't drive. We love you.
With Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Are you one of those people who thinks you can get by on just a few hours of sleep every night? Well, turns out you're wrong. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. Sleep helps our brain consolidate memories and clear out waste. A new study published in the journal Neurology found that people who don't get enough quality sleep have a more rapid decline in brain volume. Dozens of other studies show that lack of sleep can affect your reaction time, your memory, and can speed up the aging process. Also, people who clock in 5 hours of sleep per night have 2 to 3 times more belly fat than those who sleep 7 to 8 hours. Look, most of us are partially sleep deprived. That means if you get 6 hours of sleep a night, but your body really needs 8 hours, over a 2-week span, those missing hours are going to really add up, and your body and mind will mimic that of someone who's been up all night long. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Hey, it's Gumby! Remember how happy you were when you got me for the holidays? We'll feel that happy again with a great deal on a Honda Civic during the Happy Honda Days sales event, and then have wild adventures like exploring the glove box. Get something you'll love at the Happy Honda Days sales event and get 0.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers on a Civic from Honda, KBB.com's most trusted brand.
Based on 2014 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book, visit KBB.com for more information. See dealer for financing details.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
800-379-1174. 800-379-1174.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
I thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
All right, it's 8:36. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel here on KOAN, KVNT. 569-1080 is our number, 569-1080. Brian says Donald Trump's going to run for president. You know, it's like...
I don't know. I think he's going to entertain it for sure.
Well, he has a lot to gain by keeping it, just like Sarah Palin, to keep his name in the mix.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to think about him, but remember he was going to run last time. And during that period, there was a speech that he gave in Las Vegas. And it was, I don't know, it was like a 30-minute speech. And I watched probably 15 to 20 minutes of it. I'm telling you, there must have been 30 F-bombs dropped in the speech.
Was it to like an industry group or something?
It was a big convention. It wasn't in front of like some pornography industry. It was like a major convention in a Las Vegas hotel.
Oh, there's no way.
In the, God, that, and the SHI and the F-bomb. And I'm listening to this guy. I said, this guy doesn't want to be president. You can't talk like that and want to be. Have you ever heard a mainstream politician drop the F-bomb even once? He's doing it every third sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not supposed to get caught doing that in public. I know that a lot of politicians do it in private.
Oh, certainly.
It goes on all the time.
Oh, certainly.
Well,
yeah.
Dick Cheney did it. Everybody loves him.
Well, he did it. He got caught doing it once.
I know. I was kidding.
Yeah. Right. So that's the deal. When he did, either there's one or two things going on there. The guy is clearly politically deaf and has no clue, or he just didn't care. But you just can't do that. I mean, because so many people who are, people of faith. Cursing's not a real big deal to me. I don't curse much, but you can't get up there as someone who's going to run for president and drop the F-bomb every third sentence.
Yeah. Well, he won't be able to do that, but they know. See, this is what the left knows, is they would love for him to win the primary as a Republican, because then they have this easy narrative.
Oh.
This guy's dirty. He's awful.
I mean,
honest. Yeah, I mean, if for Mitt Romney, who's one of the most decent people, did you hear what I said, by the way? Very controversial.
What?
About Mitt Romney? I said that if Mitt Romney is our candidate and we lose...
You said that Friday. I heard that.
Yeah. And
you hope we lose.
No.
If evangelicals don't vote for him
Yeah.
because it was Mormonism.
Right. If they don't vote for him because it's Mormonism, I hope we lose because we deserve to lose. Yeah. Because if that's what the conservative movement is, that, yeah, you're a conservative, yeah, you're a decent guy, yeah, I think you'd make a good president.
Yeah.
But I don't like your religious principles.
Yeah.
And so I, as a bigot, even though I agree with you on all these other things,
yeah,
I'm not going to vote for you. I hope we do lose.
Now,
I
what
think
would
that's
you say-
exactly the reason we should.
Would you say the same thing if Mitt Romney was a Muslim?
I don't care what he is. If he's a
Really?
conservative, that
So he's a conservative.
wouldn't make any difference to me.
Because Muslims are they don't believe in abortion. They don't believe in gay marriage.
Right.
So if he's a Muslim you would vote for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
Brian?
I don't think a Muslim would actually ever get a chance to be voted
I know,
for
but let's
in
just
that office.
assume a guy, he's conservative as you can get.
I completely buy into Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of America. Completely. I always have. It's not complicated for me.
What if he is
It's on the content of his character.
Right.
If he's a decent person and he agrees with me politically, I don't care. It's not my job to try and figure out how to save everybody. I'm just trying to do the best I can for myself and my family.
What if the candidate is a Satanist, worships and bows down to Satan?
But here you're getting to the law of opposites, because you can't have somebody who professes Satanism
and then
agrees
Yeah.
with anything that I agree with.
Right.
So you just can't.
Well, the same with Martin
I mean,
Luther King and his character and the things that he's been shown to do.
Yes.
As far as sleeping around?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, no, I mean, I don't have any problem with somebody who's conservative or
Okay,
or
here's
whatever
a
stripe
good
they-
one now.
Okay.
What if he's an atheist?
I don't care.
I don't believe in God, but I do believe in the sanctity of life. I do believe marriage should not be redefined. I believe in smaller government.
I believe in states' rights. I believe in the importance of the family over the importance of the
And
bureaucrat.
it came down between
Mark Begich.
No, hold on a minute. Let's say you got two candidates.
Okay.
Both of them believe the exact same thing, conservative, everything, except for one of them's an atheist.
And the other one is a, quote, strong Christian.
Or whatever, Catholic, your religion.
Yeah.
Are you going to choose the Catholic over the atheist?
Never. Why would you ever do that? Look, there are people who believe that government expenditures are always good.
Okay, but hold
These
on a
are
minute.
fools. They should
So
not
there's
be president,
two
regardless.
people identical in everything they believe, except one of them believes in Catholicism. The other one is an atheist. You're not going to let that influence you, and you're gonna what are you gonna flip a coin? How are you gonna?
I don't know. There's never been a time when two people are the same. So, I mean, that is an impossible scenario.
It's pretty close.
I don't
Pretty
know.
close.
Like
Pretty
when?
close to impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm to me, who you vote for is not a complicated situation. I want the most electable. I want the most conservative person who's electable, not the most electable person. I want to clarify that.
I do think that you and I differ on Romney. And I know people say Reagan was pro-choice too at one point, but I still can't get away from that video of him at that Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, 2002 or something like that.
Yeah, that's just where he's sitting around mingling with all those.
You don't believe in people converting and
I
people
do,
changing their
but-
opinion?
But he did it after he got out of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really be pro-life and run for anything in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So there was a political expediency to his conversion. Maybe he was legitimately converted to life and sanctity of life.
No, I'll
but
say
it benefited
this.
him.
I'll say this. This may be where our disagreement comes from. Frank Murkowski made a deal with Alaska Right to Life.
Yes.
And most people probably don't know this. This is the first time I was on the board of Alaska Right to Life for 13 years.
Yep.
But Republicans in 1980 engineered to get rid of whoever the sitting United States Senator was, Greening or whatever his name was. And so they put in a weaker Democrat candidate up against Frank Murkowski, and that allowed Frank Murkowski to be. But Alaska Right to Life is huge back then. They essentially were the power structure. They're probably twice as strong as the teachers union is today, and the teachers union is 10 times more powerful than any other political organization in the state right now. But what they said was to Frank, look, Frank, you're going to have to promise us that you'll always vote pro-life.
Yes.
And he said, okay.
And he did.
He never gave one bad vote. I don't care what he believes.
Yeah.
I just want people to understand this.
Yeah.
I do not care what you believe. I care how you vote.
But he left the seat to a pro-choicer.
Yeah, and that was a problem. That's when he lied to me. That was one of the 2 or 3 times in my entire life somebody has actually literally lied to my face, and Frank was one of them.
569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, KOAN, KVNT. Give us a call. 569-1080. Give us a call. 569-1080.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
We all know Christmas shopping can be brutal, but I've learned that the easiest and best answer for gifts to friends and relatives outside is to handle it all with just one phone call. Yep, I send them New Segaya's Alaska Golden King crab for Christmas, and I never have to worry because New Segaya sends only the freshest, meatiest jumbo king crab clusters. 5 pounds of Golden King crab delivered by UPS overnight delivery anywhere in the continental United States. And it's packaged by New Segaya's experts with dry ice and gel ice in a tight styrofoam box. It's guaranteed to arrive fresh and ready to eat any day you specify. The fantastic crab feast, the boxing, the shipping, and the delivery, New Segaya takes care of all of it for you for just $155. No standing in line, just one phone call, and you can send it to as many places as you wish. So look, if you want to do it the easy way, call New Segaya's Crab Central, 561-5173. 561-5173. Send them crab for Christmas from New Segaya.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Your medications create more side effects than solutions. Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
8:47 here on a Wednesday morning, 17th day of December, a week from tomorrow, Christmas time. Santa Claus will be coming down that chimney.
Why for you to take our Christmas tree, Santa Claus?
Our good friend Mike Daniels over at Country Financial, he has 13 locations here in the state. Country Financial is one of the premier financial companies in the country, and here in Alaska, they have an entire team of folks that have been helping Alaskans better plan for the future when it comes to financial matters. You sit down with a country representative, you're going to realize right off the bat, these guys know what they're doing. They're asking questions I never even thought of asking about my financial future. It's a no-brainer. Go see them at Country Financial. You'll be thrilled that you did. Here's the number, 866-COUNTRY, 866-COUNTRY. 848 is our times. Our number, 569-1080. Explain to me these tribal courts, and I know there was a recent exemption that Congress passed that will allow the tribal courts to now issue restraining orders toward those who are accused of perpetrating domestic violence against not just natives but non-natives.
Right. The U.S. Senate passed legislation that would allow Alaska tribes to issue and enforce protective orders against non-natives. And so this is what they call the Violence Against Women Act exemption in the state of Alaska. We didn't really have functional tribal courts, even not too many years ago, but they have been gaining prominence, they have been gaining support, and so now they have been granted the ability to do this. The part that bothered me about this is I never even understood what the Alaska exemption was. The way that Mark Begich talked about it was if you raped or brutalized a woman in Alaska, there's nothing we were going to do about it. That was just it. You know, you're free to go. Hey, good job. Later, dude.
A fair representation.
No, it's not at all, because you're still subject to the courts of the state of Alaska, which every person is subject to. Now, this gives you the ability to be subject, even against your will, right, if you're a non-native, to a tribal court. But frankly, whatever, in my mind, whatever court the woman wants to be in and say, I want a protective order against that guy right there. And if you're that guy right there, that's fine with me. As long as it goes through any kind of a judicial process, that's perfectly okay with me.
Why do we have tribal courts versus our regular?
We are not one nation under God anymore. We're just not.
I didn't get that memo.
No, we're not. If people didn't get the memo, I'll give you the memo right now. Memo to people of the United States of America. Native Americans, Alaska Natives, do not want to live under the same laws. They want to live on different lands. They want to have different rights. Yeah, but it's the majority.
You think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's at least on their own lands and in their own native corporations. Perfect example, Donlin Creek Gold Mine, Pebble Mine. They have totally different standards. It's in the same drainage. It drains right into Bristol Bay. It's right on a river, the Kuskokwim River, Donlin Creek. It's going to be a gold mine. There's going to be a tailings pond there. They're going to use cyanide in order to leach the gold out of the rocks. Every single thing is the same except native-owned land.
Pebble being native-owned.
No, well, Pebble not native-owned. Donlin Creek will be 50% native-owned.
Okay.
And it's on native-owned land. Pebble is on Alaska land designated for mining, and while they tried to give away some of the ownership to native corporations, the native corporations rejected them.
That's true. So they're giving the Donlin Creek folks a pass because it's native owned.
Not a pass. They know that it's good for the people around there. They're just treating them totally different. One of them, and maybe it's the interaction of the billionaire. Maybe it's Gillum. I don't know. Maybe that's the only difference, but I don't get the sense that's the difference because Bristol Bay Native Corporation is fighting two mines that are exactly the same. They're going to have exactly the same environmental impact. One of them's allowed to go through and the other one's not. So my takeaway is this. People do not want to live under the same laws. They want their own lands. They don't want to mix between races. They don't want to be a melting pot.
There was a vote amongst Alaska Natives, and, today, what's an Alaska Native? Because
you could be 132nd Alaska Native or whatever.
Let's just say that you have any Alaska Native blood in you, and there was a vote. Mm-hmm. And the vote said very simply, we want to form our own nation and secede from Alaska and the United States. You think that would pass?
As long as reparations were part of it. They're not going to give up anything they have because they're doing pretty well. They get money from the federal government. They get health care from the federal government. They get money from the state of Alaska, and they have their own lands. Now they have their own laws, which they can treat white corporations and native corporations totally differently. So they already have everything they want. My guess is most of them would say, no, but we want our own laws. We want to treat native and white corporations differently.
But these native corporations, you've got the 12 big ones, and you got other ones that are smaller.
Yeah.
The big ones all have big skyscrapers now. They're just pouring billions of dollars of cash into their coffers because all they are is middlemen, and they get special treatment.
The 8A.
Yeah. But the average Alaska Native, do they benefit from that? You go to the average Alaska Native village in Alaska, and it's nothing but poverty. So how do you juxtapose the big fancy Midtown Alaska Native Corporation buildings to the village that has,
I guess they all get a dividend or something, right? Like $100 a year or $1,000 a year. Sometimes it's even a couple $1,000 a year.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about billions of dollars flowing through the state.
Oh yeah.
So where's all that money going?
Well, from what I understand, about 70% of it, 80% of it is used up in salaries for the people who work on these fancy high-rise towers.
Many of them not Alaska Natives.
Most of them not Alaska Natives. Because you have to have a deep level of business experience in order to be able to redirect these federal contracts. They're very complicated.
So you've got abject poverty in rural Alaska, but yet there's billions of dollars flowing through the state.
Or at least tens of millions, hundreds of millions. I don't know about billions
no,
anymore.
They're billions.
I think over time. Is that what you mean, or year to year?
They're billions each year. Mm-hmm. No, I know, and I don't know where they are now. I don't think that they've subsided much, but I know there's several billions per native corporation of revenue. Now, that's how much of that's profit, I don't know, but that's a lot of cash. Basically, what they've said, Glenn, is that, if you and I want to do a job, I'm good at it, you're not so good at it, but you're an Alaska Native. Okay, we'll give the job to you, Glenn, but you got to hire Dan to do it because you don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get to keep a bunch of cash as the middleman because of your race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think that there are a lot of Native people who are comfortable with it. Unfortunately, I don't know what to do about it. I do know that ANILCA, against the Constitution of the state of Alaska, and ANCSA, two major bills that went through, one I think in 71 and one in 80, they essentially changed the relationship. Now, they did say that they gave up all their Aboriginal rights, but now they're arguing for them again. So I just get the sense that there's such a level of dissatisfaction for the dying culture, the subsistence culture, which is not surviving. Most kids out in the bush, they couldn't provide for themselves.
Where will Anatuik Pass, Eek, some of these villages, where will they be 10 years from now?
I have no idea.
You think they'll still be?
I don't know how they survive
couple
now.
hundred?
I mean, you just asked me, well, could you afford $9 a gallon gas? No, I already spend 8% of my gross check on gasoline for my whole family. So that would mean that it would be like 40%. I mean, that's more than food and lodging. So I have no idea how they even survive now. I really don't. So I'm not a good person to ask that.
They don't have far to drive.
Yeah, they probably don't. And they drive little vehicles and stuff. They're it's not like they're driving 10 miles each way or their school is 10 miles away. So I don't know. I literally don't know how people survive out there now. But it's not easy.
Will we see a resurrection of the subsistence lifestyle because the government is running out of the people's money?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I know that one of the things that they have been arguing for is that federal subsistence managers and the Native corporations work much more closely together. I kept asking Bill Walker and Terrence and a bunch of people who were involved in Bill Walker's campaign, what exactly is it that you want that Parnell didn't give you?
And what'd they say?
A conversation.
Is that legitimate?
I don't know. I mean, look,